All right, the time is now 6. All right, the time is now 6:31. We are in session. Notice is hereby given that a special meeting of the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks, Texas will be held on Thursday, October 16th at 6:30 p.m. at City Hall, 22870 Priest Road, Sandy Oaks, Texas, where a quorum of the City Council will be present. All agenda items are subject to action. You can join the meeting at the Zoom link found in the agenda. The public will be permitted to offer public comments in person, telephonically, or by audio as provided by the agenda and as permitted by the presiding officer during the meeting by signing up with the city secretary at least 15 minutes in advance of the meeting or if providing comments in person, and at least 2 hours in advance of the meeting by emailing the city secretary or by calling 210-607-0834 if speaking telephonically or by audio. A recording of the meeting will be made and will be available to the public in accordance with the Texas Public Information Act. Ma'am, may I have a quorum call, please?
Alderman Bellinger, please.
Not present.
Alderman Trindling,
Here.
Alderman Rutino. Alderwoman Walker.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Madero.
Here.
City Secretary and where is the city attorney? She on Zoom?
I don't see her on Zoom, so I believe she's not present either. Correct. All right, we do have a quorum. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. All right, citizens to be heard at this time for agenda item 3. There are no citizens to be heard, so we will carry on. Mayor, administrator, and announcements. At this time, I really do not have any announcements since our last meeting, so we will move right along. Under administration, now new business for this special meeting, discuss under possible action on amending the personnel policy. We are presenting online, so if anybody wants to follow along, they can. But I believe our Mayor Pro Tem is going to kind of take the lead on it, and I'll run the laptop.
All right, thank you. So hopefully you've had an opportunity to review it. What the version that the mayor's pulled up now has all the track changes incorporated. However, there's still comments along the side of it. And as mentioned previously, the comments include questions that that we'll need to discuss here today. And then comments also include indications of where new information was moved from, because we did reorganize this document significantly. So the first thing that was in the comments was with the table of contents. Now, when you look at the table of contents, just right there is perfect, sir. The question is, do we want to just keep it the way it is now? Do we want to alphabetize the list to make it easier to find things? Do we want to keep the first 3 because they're the kind of the important ones, and then alphabetize the rest of it? Any thoughts on how to organize and structure the table of contents?
So from an administrative point, I think it's going to be a lot of work to reorganize and alphabetize.
No,
No?
not at all.
Okay.
I have set this up so in the Word document, you can click on it and say reorganize. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just going to be copy and pasting the content, and the table of contents automatically updates.
If that's the case, then keep the first 3 and alphabetize the rest. That's my opinion.
So,
Because that's my initial thought was you're gonna have to grab sections and then make sure you don't lose it and make sure it's in the
could
right
be some
place.
copy and paste, but the table format will automatically
The
update.
easier you can make it to find things, or to find subjects
Right.
for the employees,
If,
the better.
yeah, I think every employee should be emailed this document as a PDF file, and then it's searchable. So
Yep.
then they can just do and search it, and it wouldn't really matter what order it's in.
Correct.
When you're emailing, you're emailing it to their city.
To the
And
city,
they
correct,
can access it here.
Mhm.
correct.
So we should have it on file.
Right.
We will have it here. We will email it to them and if they choose to forward it to their personal so they can look at stuff at home, that's up to them, but
Right,
Yeah.
and each department should have a printed copy
Yeah.
as well, was our recommendation. But then each new hire should be provided this. Multiple
Well-
employees have told me they haven't seen this.
whether they're new or not, I think everybody should get this latest copy
Well,
and
once-
re-sign.
Once we update it, yes. And then
Yes.
the very last page of this document is the
The
page for them to sign to acknowledge receiving it.
Yeah.
So, Alderman Tremblay, are you saying that since we can search it, it doesn't really matter, we can just leave it as it is?
Oh, no, I'm saying the easier you can make it. I mean, if you can go in and break it down into subgroups under the general, under the paragraphs. Yeah, make it,
The alphabetizer.
yeah, alphabetize it, just makes it, I think it
I
makes
say-
it easier.
It makes it a more
Sure.
living document.
Mhm.
So keep the first three because they're the more important ones, and then alphabetize the remaining.
Yes.
All right, the next thing is, listed with the general, but it's in reference to the document as a whole. So, some questions about font size, whether we should do some bolding, what about the margins, what type of font, what is the standard, format for this? That's the first question in there. What do we want to make as the format? You'll see here the structure, as I initially created it, we've got, it starts number, letter, all the way in and indents slightly each time. Everything is aligned underneath the number or letter, so it's indented some. The margins are set at 1 inches all the way around. The font is set at 12.
Times New Roman or something.
Actually, it's Garamond, because that's what the original was in. I didn't change it, so.
Garamond is a standard
Is it?
printing.
Okay.
Yeah, and the other thing is when we print manuals, we use a 1.5 inch margin so that they can be hole punched on the left side.
Yeah,
The right side can be
Yeah.
0.75 or.
go all the
something.
way over, yeah.
But, so it can be hole punched and put in a binder.
But this is primarily gonna be email.
Yeah, but if somebody or the department
Well, yeah.
or an employee or somebody wanted.
If that's the goal, to put it for each department to have one,
I know, but my concern is adding 1/2 inch to the left margin is gonna make it longer and it's already at 62 pages.
can we
But you
can we
could
make it
put-
1.5 and then 0.5?
Yeah.
To where it's still, right, it still
To
nets
move
out,
it to the side.
yeah,
Okay, so we're gonna keep the Piper font and we're gonna keep the font size. Currently it's set at 12.
yep, I think that's good,
We usually use 11, but
yeah, just to,
to save paper and ink.
you know. I think it's fine at 12, I mean. David,
No issues.
no
That's fine.
issues. Full font,
Okay, and
Yeah.
okay with the way it's indented and the way we're alternating numbers and letters and the format.
is that the format that it defaults to through like Microsoft Word?
Mhm.
Like 1 and then A
That's the
and then,
standard.
okay, then yeah.
All right, should we add, the next comment in this thing is, should we add a paragraph at the beginning or even a preface paragraph stating that each department should have both a printed and digital PDF copy, and that employees and prospective employees should be provided with a digital copy only? Or is that just gonna be what our process is gonna be?
I don't think prospective employees should have one, but
That's what our hiring process does, so we'll address that.
sure.
Okay,
It does say in here that we will email this to them. So, yeah, our hiring process, as I've commented recently, is not the way we do things. So
Yeah.
we need to do one or the other.
Yeah.
Adjust the way we do things or adjust what this document says.
I mean.
Is there a need to put it
A
in here?
guarantee on the box is just a guarantee on the box, it's just a bunch of words, so
No need to put it in.
I don't
here.
think we need to put it in there, but we gotta enforce it, right? We could force ourselves to have one and then again, redistribute it to everybody so they have a
The
digital.
city administrator will be responsible for making sure this happens. We won't put it in the document.
Yep,
All right. So. In the section one as a whole, all there are is track changes. There's no other comments or questions. So I asked if anyone had any concerns or issues with the modifications that we made to the section one. The other document that you were provided included the track changes, so you could see what those were.
I didn't have any concerns.
Alderman Tremblay,
No, no.
Alderwoman Walker.
I'm
All right, so we are good with section one. Section, and these numbers will be changed. I'll make all these updates before I reorder so that the numbers still
Yeah.
match.
You follow.
The next is going to be section two. There's a comment from the city attorney in response to a comment that we had in there. Bureau of Labor and Statistics uses these hours for the purposes of current population survey for households. The city may define what it considers full-time or part-time. Regardless of what is considered full-time or part-time, there are certain benefits some employees are required to provide for a certain amount of hours worked. For example, an employee with 50 or more full-time employees is required to provide health insurance to employees under the Affordable Care Act. Full-time under an Affordable Care Act is 30 hours or more a week. And I think this was her response to a comment that we had in here. I think it was your comment in there,
It
CJ,
was my
that's no
comment.
longer in there about what full-time and part-time actually are.
I think 20 to 30 hours, really 20 to 30 hours is part-time.
Well, so this document says if you work less than 40, you're part-time.
Anything less than 40,
Yeah, but that's,
part-time.
Yeah, I
So
always learned it was
this-
less than 32.
Yeah, do we want to keep it at this? Or-
that's why I'm saying it, right? I think we need to address it. I think we need to address B. I think full-time is correct. Full-time employee is an employee whose work schedule involves working 40 plus, well, I really should say 40 plus hours per week. 40 or more. Or it could read 35 or more hours. Because there's private businesses that are, full-time employees are 35 or more.
Okay, and again, our city attorney says we can define it to be what we want.
Yeah.
So if we say a full-time employee is 40 hours and a part-time is 32 or less is a number I heard, then we have to describe what is 32 through 40. Or we leave it as it is
Yeah, we gotta bridge the
and
gap.
everything's defined. If you're 40 hours, you're full-time. If you're less than 40 hours, you're part-time.
So less than 32 is part-time and 32 or more is full-time.
Do you want to include somebody? That means someone working 33 hours is a full-time employee. Do we want to make that?
I mean,
Alderman Tremblay, I see faces.
They're here all
You're not the mayor.
And then we define the same thing when you start talking about how leave is accrued. Leave is accrued.
Well, we don't recruit leave
full-time.
anymore.
Well, and that's another thing.
That'll be a point of discussion in here too,
Yeah,
because there's a problem.
But yeah, I think 40 hours, anything less than 40, it's because you can have somebody working 32. And they're considered full-time employee, you need to start providing benefits.
I'm just using it as an example.
Because we look at the budget. When we hire
40 hours.
part-time,
Part-time is
we're taking into consideration that we're not paying benefits.
benefits.
So if we take on a part-time employee, we gotta take on that extra cost of providing benefits, which may exceed what we're actually paying them on salary. We just gotta be budget-wise, we need to look at it that way.
So this way, a part-time employee could work 35 hours and still not be considered full-time and have to have the benefits. It gives us the flexibility.
Exactly.
So we're good with it as it is then? All right,
So are we just gonna move along and approve all of these together up that we're doing each one?
so,
I mean, it's gonna take a long time to
Well, this one's
sit
no-
here and vote on every.
This one's no
issue.
change, right? If we're gonna keep it as is, so.
right, well, I would say we can we can do a motion to approve each section as we finish it. or we can, do motions on a group of sections as we finish it.
Let's do it.
I would do it by section, and if there's
Okay.
there's no changes to make from what it shows there, then let's just keep moving.
Okay, so we have changes to the table of contents and we have a reorganization here. We've got no changes to section 1 and no change to section 2.
I will say though, HEB as an example, is 35 plus is full-time. I get it. It's a
The
retest.
first organization that makes a
Again.
lot more money than we do.
Again,
Yeah.
I'm just giving you an example.
All right.
So,
So are we gonna, do we want to do a motion on 1 and 2?
1 and 2 didn't have any changes.
No
correct?
changes, so we can just, okay,
we can move.
Do we need to
Moving
make
on.
any?
well,
We need a motion on the table of contents.
all right. We got 2 motions so far. I move to update the table of contents so that the first 3 items remain the same and the rest of the items are alphabetized. As well as adjusting the format of the document so that the left margin is 1.5 inches and the right margin is 0.5 inches.
A second.
All right, so I have a motion from our Mayor Pro Tem and a second from Alderwoman CJ to keep the top 3 items in the table of contents, then alphabetize the remaining. Keep the font at 12 and increase the left margin increase the left margin to 1.5 and reduce the right margin to 0.5. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right.
All right, so moving on to section 3. Well, first, were there any other issues with the edits that we did with section 2? Because there were a couple. All right, nothing heard. Moving on to 3, we have a couple comments and questions within section 3. First is paragraph 3B, where specifically, it's not just the police officers, since we've started hiring other people since I've been on the committee. This is not the process we follow for any of our hiring. So we need to decide whether we want to start following this policy or adjust this policy to be the way we actually want to do it.
I think for practical purposes, you can leave it that way, but there are instances where the council votes to authorize the police chief to make a hire after an interview. It still comes back to council, but we authorize them to do interviews.
Yeah.
Right, but that's what we need to, well, in general, it's going forward with everybody. I mean, we don't look at the resumes and decide who gets interviewed. So if we look at just the first paragraph under recruitment, it states that we as a city council will decide whether or not we're gonna fill a position.
And that's,
We've been doing,
Mhm.
so no issues with that one. The city council, and we do look at this most of the time, determines where the job opening shall be advertised, how long it should be advertised, the deadline date for the applicants to respond, and other contents. We don't always get into all those details. And then, so any issue with changing that aspect, because we still follow that.
Mm-mm. Sorry, I'm just trying to. Because I know once I hit the down button, it's gonna move the whole set.
Correct. So that's just the recruitment. So we as a city council should be deciding, are we gonna advertise this position or not? Where and when are we gonna advertise it for how long? So I don't think that's where the issue's at. I think that it's gonna be down in the next part, which is, so are we good with 3B staying as it is?
yes.
Yes.
Okay, and then there's a comment from the city attorney stating that there's a separate manual for the police department, which may address this. I did receive an updated copy of that from Rick. He's asked me to take a look at it. I think there's going to be definitely aspects of the hiring process for the police department that's very specific, and the chief needs to control that. But in other aspects of that one, it can refer to here to the personnel policy to see other guidelines. So I think we keep those things that are specifically for the police department in that one. Are we good with that approach there too? Because that was the second box right here. That's a comment from Cassandra. Okay, so then we move on to C3C. So here, this is where we're definitely not following it. This is the consideration of applications, which says after the job closes, we as the council are supposed to, either in a regular or special session, consider all of the applications and decide which ones we're going to interview, or whether we're going to reject them all and re-advertise, or whether we just, based on the applications, just select one. So this says that we make that choice.
I don't think that's a good
I,
method.
I think that falls on the city administrator.
Or even the hiring manager, right? Like they should look at it, be able to look at the resume and say, I don't really like this one. They don't have enough experience.
You talk about the department.
The department supervisor, yeah.
I mean, they should make a recommendation on the
Yes,
applicants, and then the
100%.
applications handed over to the city administrator for action from the council to go ahead, or the city administrator can go ahead and give the approval to do interviews. Yeah, the actual hiring is done
Right, based off of the recommendation,
Right.
right?
to the council. So I don't know that,
I don't think they should be considering the applicants. Because I mean, I wouldn't feel comfortable telling the chief to hire somebody. And use that as the crudest
Oh,
example.
that's why I definitely want his, that's why I asked if we had a recommendation on the
in
code
there-
enforcement, because it says we're supposed to hire him.
Yeah.
So you're saying, Alderman Tremblay, that you think this should say the city administrator?
the city council may consider. I got my glasses coming from over the fence. I didn't know we were gonna be reading from as far as this. The city council may consider the applicant may consider the applicants with recommendation from the city administrator.
From the hiring man, okay, yeah, or that.
So hold
So
on,
the-
this isn't the hiring, this is just considering.
Right, but the consideration comes from the.
The department head.
Well, so,
Department
but,
head or the.
but let's time out because I see what she's going at, right?
So the hiring is
This is-
covered elsewhere.
Yeah, this is just, I've applied for the job. This is saying the council will determine whether my application gets looked at. That's that cut and dry.
Mhm.
This is just, yeah, consideration of the applicants. This has got nothing to do with,
I'm gonna grab my sunglasses,
You're
just
fine.
over the fence here, okay?
You're fine, you're fine.
Is there a step here?
You'll have to go
over
around
the ramp. Oh.
the
it
down to
doesn't-
go
it
down.
Doesn't go to the ramp.
I got it. I'll get you. But I think generally, and let me just announce at 6:54, Alderman Tremblay stepped out to grab his readers. But
Well, I think we need to have this conversation when he's
Yeah.
there, so that he understands this is not
just out.
deciding who's gonna hire, who's gonna interview.
Right.
Well, there you go. Jump the fence, yeah. So Delma gives me the agenda.
Okay, so,
Much better.
Alderman Tremblay.
Mhm.
This is just considering, we have a pool of applicants, like, for example, we have the applicants for animal control, and we have the applicants for code enforcement officer. And according to the way this is written, all of those come to us in a session, and we decide who's going to get interviewed, or whether we're gonna ignore them all and re-advertise the job, or if we're just going to hire someone right away. And you're saying that at this point, that decision should be made by the department head or the city
Yeah,
administrator.
because, I mean, as it is now, I mean, if you look at, we have some applicants for positions now. I wouldn't probably interview some of those that we have that have been received. So
Right.
why bring that all to the council? Leave that on the department head to decide, well, this guy, looks good. They're not interviewing, they're just looking at the application.
They're thinning it down,
Yeah.
is what you're saying.
So do you think the city council should make the final call on who's going to be interviewed, or do you think the department head? and, or city administrator should make that decision.
I don't think it needs to come to council until,
Okay.
until the interviews have been
So it's an
done.
interview process as well. This entire paragraph should be changed to say that the department heads or city administrator
Would review the applicants.
will do all of this stuff that's listed here. Instead of coming to us, yeah.
The final hiring processes.
So I brought it up
Dr.
last
Council.
week, so you guys would
Yeah.
understand that this is what this is saying we have to do. So you're saying, and Alderwoman Walker, do you concur that this is better done by the department head or the city administrator?
I think it should be the department head.
Yeah, but we have to have
It could be and or.
so, well, I see your point. So if they are a department head position that's being hired, should that come to the city council or should the city administrator do it?
City manager,
City
administrator.
administrator.
Okay, so department heads or
They
city
make the
administrator,
recommendation and then it goes to the city administrator to, yeah, okay, and make the offer.
so no, it comes to city council, because we all hire
We
by
have
the
to
city
make that,
council, but
yeah,
what I'm
we have
trying to say
approve it.
is that we can write this so that the department head or the city administrator, if the position is for a department head, will perform these roles.
Okay, yes,
Yes, I think the hiring process itself is an HR function. It should be handled more through the city administrator or the mayor rather than the council. I mean, handle it as much as you can at the HR level.
I think it's
concur.
important to say department
I
head.
didn't
though.
think that's not policy. I'm just trying to point out the things I think
No, I
we need to
understand.
look at.
Yeah.
Okay, so, then that's, city council will be removed from this. And it will be updated, adjust the exact verbiage to indicate that the department head is going to be doing all of this. But if the position being hired for is a department head, the city administrator will do the role.
So can you just say the department head and or the city administrator?
No,
No, and they mean two different things though.
yeah. I'll make it very clear. The decision of this council is to do it so that the department head does it for their
For their
personnel
personnel.
and the city administrator does it for the department
Department head.
heads. And this is just the consideration of the applicants, deciding who's getting interviewed and that kind of thing. So, that's all that this is doing here. This isn't the actual deciding who's gonna get hired.
But then you're setting it up to where now the city administrator cannot do it for department heads. If there's no department head,
What?
right? Because if there's no department head,
No.
yes, because you called it two specific citations.
Oh.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It has to be and or.
No, easy enough. Add another statement.
If the position is. for
If the department head, no, I understand what he's saying. This is how you fix it. If the department head position
Is vacant.
is vacant, then the city administrator will perform that function. Will perform. No.
Yeah.
Cause that should fix that. So if the department head, if there is no department head for that, and I'll just change it so that the department head's gonna do it. But if there is no department head for that position, the city administrator will do it. And that'll cover both, it is a department head or the department head position is vacant. So it'll just say department head or city administrator if there is no department head for the vacant position. Over the vacant position, not for, over. That adjust your concern? Is that satisfactory to the other two council members?
Yes.
Okay. So. Then I would move to update paragraph 3C3 to indicate that the city council does not have a role, and that instead the department head or the city administrator for any vacant position that doesn't have a department head over it will do these functions in 3C3.
Okay, so I do have a motion,
Yeah, I'll second.
a motion by Mayor Pro Tem and a second by Alderman Tremblay to remove city council from section C3 and to insert the department head or the city administrator for the consideration of applicants. That generic enough, or you want something more
Yeah, that's
specific?
close enough. I have to reword the whole paragraph
Yeah.
anyway.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. All right.
All right, the next comment is on paragraph 3G. And the comment here is that this is in the hiring section. But this more has to do with ongoing employment. So would there be a better section to put this one? Because it's prohibited employment policies and practices. I thought it was here maybe to let people that were hiring know that this is are prohibited, just like nepotism and EEO is in here.
They could be their own standalone policies if we wanted to.
So you wanna leave this or you wanna,
This is where it was
Covered.
moved, correct?
oh, it's moved?
No, this was under the hiring section.
Oh, okay, I see the comment.
Yeah, this is where it was. It doesn't, nothing says this was moved from somewhere else. So do we want to just keep it here? And then this comment goes on further to say an individual status as discussed in section G, paragraph 1, and any reasonable accommodations in paragraph 3 are usually discussed or noticed during initial selection process, though I see an argument for having a version of this as an intro paragraph just prior to the more generic policies that follow selection and hiring. I think that might have been from the city attorney. So
We're only discussing the first paragraph there, right?
this is,
Yeah.
the second comment there talks about, mentions paragraph 3. Because it talks about denial of reasonable accommodation. So the question is, does this belong in this section or not?
I would say the first paragraph does, but I still think the second and third paragraph belong elsewhere. Like retaliation should be a separate item in the alphabetized.
I think retaliation is covered elsewhere in here too. I think this is just a single paragraph to let people know. Because there's more details on retaliation later.
What do you think?
Oh, yeah, I'm trying to think where we under what, because this, we're in the hiring. You know, I had at least the outline of, where things go. I'm trying to bring it up on my phone.
Oh, can you get back to the table of contents? That's what he's trying to pull up,
Right,
Yeah.
sir. Thank you.
Hang on, sorry, Dave. Second. So, let's have a look at it.
I mean, it may just go under general, I mean, there's really not, as far as
There's nothing cited specific. It could
Specifically, no,
go under the grievance policy almost.
could,
Because-
or
I think the
discipline.
grievance policy
But
is the one we're talking about where retaliation is
Retaliation is-
mentioned there,
It's
but
already under there.
So if it's already mentioned there, then why can't we strike it?
Because this is specifically for the hiring
for the
process.
hiring.
Because we email this to employees that we're gonna be interviewing. So that,
No, I don't think we need to
Yeah,
do this
because
to people
they-
who are being interviewed.
They have to understand what the rules and the guidelines and policies are for the city before they agree to work for the city.
so,
Or do you want to give it to them? If a position is physically offered to them,
I think if
say,
it's
you need to
offered
go
to them.
through this
Yeah.
and tell us if you want to do this.
I think,
I don't think you need to give them.
So-
During the application process. No.
yeah, that's a separate discussion, but retaliation is mentioned in multiple sections throughout this
It is.
policy. So you'll see it brought up a number of times. So the question is, does it belong here?
in the hiring selection policy.
No, I don't think it belongs in higher.
I don't see it.
I don't either. I think it belongs either in, maybe discipline.
Discipline or grievance.
Yeah, it's already there.
Yeah.
So,
Take it out.
So we go back.
so does any of this need to be here?
No, not if it's covered under discipline. This is a hiring policy. I don't think that in the policy. It's pretty much,
Right there.
Mhm.
yeah, that's pretty much. The city's responsibility or the
Correct.
department heads. Policies.
Yeah, it almost makes no sense.
Right,
to
so
be-
this is the first paragraph is about the discrimination, retaliation, and then, I guess the last one.
See, it makes no sense if it's in the hiring because
Right.
it's talking about
So,
conduct or participates in a way in the complaint.
so,
Strike the whole thing.
so what is the motion here for section? G?
I would, my recommendation is to strike
Alderman Tremblay?
section two.
Yeah, I've moved to strike G, I mean, we're talking about paragraph.
Yeah, G.
Yes, 3G, sir.
3G,
the whole
paragraph
thing,
two.
yeah.
The whole thing?
Mhm.
I will second that.
Three. So the motion by Alderman Tremblay and a second by the Mayor Pro Tem is to strike section 3G. All those in favor say aye.
Alright.
Did I hear you, ma'am?
Yeah.
Okay, all those opposed, that motion carries. Okay.
All right, so there are no other comments in section 3 except for comments about where things were moved from. Were there any issues with the edits and changes made with the rest of section 3? All right, nothing heard. The next one is section 4. So should the sexual harassment discrimination policy be part of the generic city policy section in alphabetical order? As it is not specific to only section selection and hiring. Oh, okay, so that comment was added before I separated it out. So that was a recommendation from,
Me.
yeah, so I already pulled it out. Any issues with me pulling it out based on CJ's recommendation? I mean, Alderwoman Walker's recommendation. So the sexual harassment discrimination policy is no longer included underneath the hiring policy. It is its own section because it is important. Any issues, Alderman Tremblay?
No.
All right.
And it needs to be part of the alphabetized topics.
Yes, well, it wasn't in the top 3. This is 4, so it will be alphabetized. There is a comment in section 4E though, that we'll need to look at. Changes from here to the end of this section is based on feedback from the city attorney and harassment document she provided. So when I sent this to her for review, she sent back some things that she felt needed to be added. And so everything from right there, E on, see, here's a no retaliation under sexual discrimination too. So again, it's covered in multiple sections. And so this was added, copied from the typo, I'll fix that. This was added from a document that the city attorney provided.
Question, because it came up recently, do we want to? Because it specifically states sexual harassment and discrimination. Do we want to call out something for just regular harassment?
I think if you read further into it, it does define harassment.
Yeah, regular harassment is defined.
Regular harassment.
But it is under sexual harassment and discrimination policy.
I-
So while it does define it as harassment, I get it.
Reporting a harassment complaint, so we can say harassment, sexual harassment and discrimination
I-
policy. Do we want to change the name to specify that this includes regular harassment in order to address this concern?
I believe it should, and only because we're. Okay, I'm just throwing it out there.
If you, can you scroll down until.
So
get to
C3,
Harassment
if
part
you go to C3, it defines other forms of harassment.
there.
Even harassment by electronic means is included in there.
Which one did you want to go to, Dave?
Yeah,
C3,
keep going. Other forms. So when you get to other forms
Right there.
of harassment, that may need to be a title by itself rather than a sub paragraph.
but it's under definitions. So we're defining what other forms. So
Remember, this was information provided by the city attorney,
Mhm.
correct?
right, no, because
This
it's,
part isn't,
no, it's before E.
okay.
If it's before E, then it was in our policy. I think we still need it in the definitions, but we can add another paragraph that talks about other forms of harassment.
Right, and. Yeah, I think it needs.
I mean, it's captured there under other additional considerations.
What's one?
I'm sorry,
What's one?
of discrimination, I think. So, yeah, discrimination, sexual harassment and other
Other forms of.
forms of harassment. So it does cover, but do we want to change the title to make it clear that this covers all harassment? Or just take sexual out of there, say harassment, discrimination? Because this does include regular harassment.
So then, I mean, you can just include it in the title. Of for sexual harassment / harassment and discrimination.
Sexual harassment, harassment or other harassment? What is it called?
Well, if.
It's called
just
the other because there's various
Other
kinds of
forms.
other forms.
Sexual harassment / other forms of harassment and discrimination. And harass people on the color of their hair, clothes they wear, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, so we'll add that to the title. Now, going back down to your concern about other forms of harassment being in the definition section. If you go to section D, which immediately follows the definitions, it's called additional considerations, and that's when it talks about discrimination and harassment in general and not specifically sexual harassment.
Right,
So I think we still need it there in 3, so it's clearly defined what we
Oh,
consider
yeah, it
harassment.
still needs to be there. Sure.
But is this good enough in D to capture, or do you think we need to add more to clarify what we're talking about?
No. I think that defines everything there.
Okay. So those were the concerns with section 4.
If I may, on section D, I tend to have a problem with employees who engage in such conduct while on duty or on city premises, only because harassment can happen outside of the city to our employees, meaning they're off, they're calling in, they're calling them on their time off.
You can't tell an employee what to do on their own time.
Yeah.
This isn't the military.
True. I'm just, I don't
I'd
know,
say, well, it should,
because we've had this before.
I know we have, but
If I may, then it becomes a violation of state law, right?
Okay,
So like the example that we had
Right.
before that to the DA's office. Because
Yeah.
now that was off-duty text message.
yeah,
Now it becomes a violation of state law, so our policy.
okay, that's fair.
if you're on duty on the clock, or
Yeah,
paid by the city.
Or on city
different
property.
story.
Yeah.
then we can put it in the city
Okay.
manual.
fair enough.
Okay. Is that just mine or is that yours?
What? This is,
D, I have two number ones, you have two number ones.
Yeah, that second number one's not supposed to be there.
shouldn't it be A and B and shouldn't it be A and B?
No, because it's number, letter. I'm gonna look at it and I'll figure out what it should be.
Okay,
Okay, so we're good with keeping 4 separate, and for 4E, we want to change the title. And did we get a motion to change the title?
no, we have not.
Alderman Trumbull, what did you say you wanted to
Sexual
do?
harassment / other forms of harassment.
And discrimination.
Policy.
I'll second.
So I have a motion by Alderman Tremblay and a second by Alderwoman CJ to change the title for section 4, sexual harassment and discrimination policy to sexual harassment and other forms of harassment and discrimination policy. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right.
Okay, next is moving on to 5A, where the question is, should this be the city council's role or the city administrator's role? It's to establish and periodically review all job descriptions for each position in the city.
No, that is the city administrator's job.
Alderwoman Walker, any disagreement?
I'd say city administrators.
All right, moving on to 5B then.
It's basically informational for the employee who's doing this. But, it's really I think when we get to the end of this thing, the city council is not, liable to the personnel policy. We're not bound by anything that's in the personnel policy, nor is the mayor.
Right.
So to put that in there, it's just informational for the.
Which are you
So
talking about?
You can just leave there, that the city administrator reviews
Oh, right,
establishes periodically. It can, there's not a
Right.
big deal.
yeah. Okay, the next one is on paragraph B, where we have the comment that standard practice is to provide this during the hiring and selection process, then upon each annual performance evaluation with morphing of position as needed. So this is during the orientation, giving the employee the job description.
You're referencing which one?
B.
5B.
Okay.
And that, the employee's gonna sign a copy saying they understand it, and that's placed in the personnel file.
Okay.
So I guess the comment here is that this is typically provided during the hiring and selection process, but I think during the orientation is the point in time where we wanna get it signed.
That's where you want to get it signed.
They're gonna have the
Just wanna
job
make sure that-
description. The job description is the job they're applying for, so
Right.
I think that this is fine as written, because this is just saying we're getting a signed copy of it, saying they understand it, what they're being hired to do.
This is a point where they should be given the personnel policy manual. So it should be
To,
in
to
there.
have time to read it before they agree to work for the city. you might have employees, I've had it many times where you have an employee that suddenly goes, oh, we're not allowed to do this, we need to do this, and they walk out.
Rule one, never.
So bottom line, I think this is fine. And that the fact that the job description is part of the job application they're
right.
applying for, so giving it to them during the hiring and selection process is moot point, because they
Right.
have the job application, and this is fine as is. Any
Agree with that.
disagreements?
No,
Okay, so no change on that, and then the next one is 5E. Comment is, why is the city administrator involved in the review progress report if the implementation plan or performance evaluation is determined by the department head supervisor? Need better clarification of the roles. At what point does the city council enter into the discussion in executive session? So I think this is going to the point again. It is the department head's responsibility, and the city administrator
And this,
only fulfills the role when there is no department head.
and this is related to the employee improvement plan,
Correct.
just throwing that out there. So yeah, I think it should be. My opinion is it shouldn't be on the city administrator other than the
No.
employees that directly report to them.
because you're not watching their. you're
Yeah.
not-
I'm not watching
They're,
animal
you don't
patrol, I'm
see what
not,
they're doing,
right.
right, that's. Though, it's the same thing, I mean, when, to get their ratings. They should be providing you with some bullets as far as what they've been doing,
right. Cause the administrator will come then to the council and say, I think, Delma should get a raise. Because her supervisor said she's doing this well, doing this well, doing this well, needs improvement here, needs improvement here, needs improvement here. I think the administrator does come to the council for those type of things, even if they don't, report to them.
Okay, so if the chief writes a performance improvement plan on one of his officers,
Mhm.
does that go to the city administrator for approval, or does the chief just do it?
I think the chief does it, well, sorry,
let me
Sure.
just back up a little bit, you work for the government? You work for
Mhm.
the Air Force? I worked for the Army, the Air Force. Your performance evaluations are done,
This isn't
I-
an evaluation, this is an
Okay,
improvement
and
plan.
even in an improvement plan, it you do it, and then it goes, you as a rater, and then it goes to to your boss for approval as an approval process.
Not the improvement plan I did to get my civilian employees fired. That's not how it works.
well, let me kind of give you a current
Yeah.
example, so. Chiefs having issues with an employee. He comes to me for advice. Now, I ultimately tell him, look, they're your guys. And you know them better than I do, and you hired them. So I want you to, if you're gonna make a decision, right, it's on you to make that decision.
So. Again, this is not saying
This
he's
is
not
improvement
gonna
plan.
make the decision. The question is, once he writes that improvement plan, when I wrote an improvement plan, I had to take it to EEO and get them to approve it. EEO is an office.
Well,
of
that's kind of what I'm
military.
talking about.
So,
It should go
so
to
the
HR.
question is. If he's doing an improvement plan, does he have to take it to you for approval? Just to verify, yep, I understand you've got employee
Yeah, because if he wants to fire somebody,
John Doe
For the
on an
record,
improvement
I
plan.
would say for the record, yes, she goes.
So that's on there.
So
Now
if he
it-
comes back later and says, I think we need to remove this guy, the council.
Needs to
gets
see-
that-
Based off
it
his
comes to the council
recommendation,
for
yeah.
removal.
Okay, so we're saying that if the chief puts someone on an improvement plan, the city
That's HR.
administrator has to approve it. Now, what if the city administrator puts the chief on a improvement
Well,
plan?
Totally on him,
Does he need to bring that to the council for review?
unless he's gonna remove him, no.
Okay. So that's the question that I was trying to get to with this, because we have it for folks below the department head, but not for the department head positions. So, and then, so that means no change to this, because that's exactly what it says, is that the department head does the improvement plan. Supervisor and employee will review, I don't know why it says supervisor instead of department head, but I guess in some cases, like he's the department head, Ashley's the supervisor, and Cassandra's an employee, so that like multiple levels there, but so. If it was Cassandra and Ashley, then Ashley would be reviewing with Cassandra every 15 business days during the improvement plan, period, even though the department head's the one that gave it. There were kind of
I
scenarios
think
what
that
that's saying.
15-day thing is kind of a short fuse, I think that should be extended out. If you put somebody on a performance plan, 15 days.
So that's not the length, that's the
Fine.
review. So when I had my civilian on an improvement plan, I went over to EEO and met with her and her attorney every week and said, this is how you're doing on your improvement plan.
Weekly, huh?
Oh, yeah, we wanted to get rid of her. So on a weekly basis, sorry. My other daughter's trying to make sure I don't need to help picking up my daughter at the airport, sorry.
Got 2 hours.
Yeah. So this is not to review the plan and rewrite it. It's just how are you doing? So every 2 weeks, I think is a reasonable time to check in and say, hey, you're still not quite there. So it's just the employee's progress. And the city administrator will approve the improvement plan and participate in the review progress report. The outcome of the performance improvement will determine the employee's future with the city and their current position. And the city administrator oversees the entire performance evaluation center, the system. And that the the performance evaluations are maintained in the record. So no issues with any of that.
Fine.
So no changes there. So I'm not seeing any changes that we want to make to section 6. But we have reviewed multiple things, so that's good. So next on section, excuse me, that was section 5. Moving to section 6, we have 6E is the first question. And 6E, this really bothered me. Employees shall be required to be at work on all days scheduled unless the employee supervisor has given prior approval. Oh, no, not that one. Ensure that it's the next. If the employee fails to report to work or to call within 30 minutes after the start of the work schedule, the employee shall be placed on leave without pay until returning to work. After 3 days with no notice from the employee, it will be assumed that the employee has terminated employment with the city, and consequent steps will be implemented. So there's like no attempt to try and call the employee, make sure he's
Well, I
not
think that's.
dead or something.
I think
Yeah,
there
that's
is,
just
right? It's just not called out.
On the work.
Okay.
Supervisor. Yeah.
So we're just gonna assume they're gonna do that, not necessarily have it. This is just the official steps we're gonna take, so.
Do we argue the point for approval for absence, right? Like, I mean, are we really approving that they're absent, that they're gonna be absent, or are we just acknowledging that they're going to be absent?
Well, it
I know we're
should
splitting
be-
hairs
should
on
be
that.
Leave should be approved if they're not here in 30 minutes.
So this is somebody calling in sick,
Okay.
right? At least how I see it.
So which
This is
paragraph?
E1. Our employees should be required to work on all days.
Employee shall on all days scheduled unless employee supervisor has given prior approval for absence.
When I hear absence, I think of like they're not coming in because I'm sick or whatever. When they call me, I'm not really giving an approval because I'm not gonna tell them no either. Right? If you're calling me to tell me that you're not gonna be here, well, shit, I'm not sorry. So
Right,
I
but
know-
it says absence because it could be leave without pay, PTO, who knows?
It's
So,
just when I hear absence, I fixate on they're not coming in and it wasn't scheduled off. But that could be just me looking at it in a different light.
I think we covered leaving.
so
That
there was,
other section.
here's the other comment too. I skipped the comment on the first paragraph. It says section G and H below speak to section E. Should they be separate or should they be sub items under E? So if you look at,
I see what you're saying.
should G and H,
G and H.
emergency and unexcused absence and tardiness, should those be subparagraph under E?
Because they are speaking to the individual's attendance.
Yeah, I think timeliness can be certainly rolled up. Let's see here.
So I can make all of that all subparagraph.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, it all deals with attendance.
So how much of that, Alderman Tremblay, do you think should be included under attendance?
Yeah, Benji.
F, G, and H, all three?
Yeah.
Yes. Mhm.
Alderwoman Walker?
I agree.
Right, I move to make paragraph six F, G, and H subparagraphs under paragraph 6E.
A second.
I got a motion by our Mayor Pro Tem and a second from Alderwoman CJ to make paragraph 6 F, G, and H subs of 6E. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, that motion carries.
All right. So, I would like to skip 7 for now, because we'll pull up a separate document and talk about pay scales
Can we look at I?
on, well.
Oh,
yeah,
it says
sorry.
moved
The-
from,
So I'm talking specifically 7F, where we have the pay scales. I want to skip that particular section and come back to that later. You talk, what on G did you want to talk about?
on I, that they were to remain within the city, yeah, 6I. I don't think that's, and maybe I just didn't read it far down enough. But I don't think it's reasonable to have
Yeah.
them stay within the city, especially when we have folks that don't live in
Don't live
town.
in the city.
Alderman Tremblay, Alderwoman Walker. Mayor just gives an opinion, we make the decision.
Yeah,
So we'll keep
I mean,
pursuing it, but-
you need to address on-call some way, whether or not, I think it's,
We can say must answer all calls.
What about just pick it up with on-call employees, must answer all calls unless released by his or her supervisor, comma, must perform all duties assigned
Well, if we strike
and continue.
in the first sentence, if we strike must remain within the city during the hours they are on call duty.
Right.
And
they can stay within the county.
if we strike that much,
yeah, I think you just say it.
then it's gonna say employees on call answer all calls unless released by his or her supervisor. On-call employees must perform all, and then the rest of the paragraph seems
Sure.
fine.
Mhm.
Okay, so I move to strike, must remain within the city during the hours they are on call duty and.
Second.
Good catch, Nick. So like everybody had to read it.
Must remain within the city while on call. All right, a motion by Mayor Pro Tem and a second by Alderman Tremblay to strike must remain within city while on call. On section I, 6I, right?
Yes, sir.
On 6I, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, that motion carries. Thank you.
All right, so 7F, there's the pay scales that we need to address, but I would like to do that afterwards where we can pull up the pay scale document.
Okay.
But the next comment is on 7H, paragraph 4. This is the time card system. Should we update this to reflect the electronic system we have now? I think everybody's got an app they use.
They can use an app or they can use the time clock on the wall.
So, so each employee shall be required to maintain an accurate daily record of all hours worked. The employee shall,
This is on,
So they can access the app from anywhere,
mhm.
so they could say they're working and they're not here.
The good thing about it is that I got GPS tracking. We got GPS tracking, right? So I can see where they punch in and punch out.
Okay.
okay, so if we look at this paragraph, then the second sentence,
It's this one, right? 4?
it's H4.
Yep, okay.
The second paragraph states the employee shall sign the timesheet. The second sentence in that paragraph.
Right.
So the sign the timesheet and the supervisor will approve the weekly timesheet. So the employee shall sign in on the app or
Punch in.
what is that? what is the device that they sign in?
That's a wall clock.
So we have that, sign in within the time, what is it? TML app, what do you call it?
ADP, yeah.
Wow,
Yeah, then, but that's super specific.
yeah, so what is it? Is it a time card app?
It's a time, it's a time clock. Time clock.
Timekeeper,
I'm an attendance clock.
there we go,
Right.
that's the word I was looking for. Time and attendance clock or app. Application, sign in within the time and attendance. Application, and the supervisor will approve the weekly time and attendance. Is that accurate?
They don't really approve their time cards. Now, we have stand-ups. So meaning a weekly Friday meeting to review time. So each department head,
But do you have to does it have to be approved for them to get paid?
no,
So there's no approval needed,
no approval needed.
whether you review it as a side point, so we don't need, and the
Who-
supervisor will approve the
who
weekly
inputs it
timesheets
into
in there.
payroll?
Delma.
So, and Delma should be the approving.
Well,
She's putting
she
it in.
can't approve, well, I mean, I don't want to say she can't, but she shouldn't approve it based off of the fact that she doesn't know what those employees are working, right?
She's
So,
putting it in.
so that's, but going to back what I was telling her, each department head reviews the time for the week. And then gets with Delma if they find any discrepancies and so on.
So this week, who approved, Public Works?
Right, so I've reviewed Public Works for the
Okay.
purpose of, okay, Delma, or okay, Jacob, what did you do here? Mike, what did you do there? Right, so then once I get my answers and I input those into the ADP app, right, whether it's an adjustment or whatever, then it just flows to Delma and Delma's able to press go. So,
Delma shouldn't be approving it because Delma is an employee.
Well,
of the
right.
city.
Yeah, I'm just saying if she's putting it in.
yeah,
She is
so,
putting it
so the
in.
administrator,
The city administrator would do that though.
yeah, because then I'd expect them to take that role that I'm taking on of looking at the chief's time, looking at Delma's time, looking at Jeremy's time, Priscilla's time, and then making sure those hours look right. And then those department heads look over their people, right? So, but again, it's not it's not a formal process. It's, hey, chief, every Friday at 9 o'clock, you have a meeting to look at all your folks' time, see who's missing punch-ins and what have you. Fix any long lunches if they forgot to punch back in or whatever.
Okay.
Not a perfect process, but it works.
But we still need to address the,
So then,
okay, so here's what I'm thinking based on what we just said.
Yeah.
So. Delete and this paragraph. 7H4. Delete the second sentence. And replace it with, the employee shall sign in on the time and attendance card, clock or application, period. And then in the second sentence, strike on the timesheets and replace it with in the time and attendance system. Then it reads, records of hours worked shall be kept in the time and attendance system provided by the city.
and then in the second sentence, it said records of,
On the timesheet, and in that
Mhm.
third sentence,
Right.
actually, on the timesheet, strike that,
Right.
replace with in the time and attendance system.
Right. I think that makes sense. I think you just need a motion.
And I moved to do.
Is that your motion? All
That's
right.
my motion. I
Gotcha.
moved to.
I second.
All right, and a second by Alderwoman CJ. I've got a motion by Mayor Pro Tem and a second by Alderwoman CJ. to strike in the second sentence of, 7H.
No, it's strike the entire second sentence.
Oh, strike the entire second sentence in section 7H4 and insert the employee shall sign in on the time and attendance system, app or clock. And then in the third sentence, we're gonna strike shall be kept on the timesheet provided by the city and insert in the time and attendance system. So,
No, not strike shall be kept, just strike on the timesheet.
oh, okay, so just strike on the timesheet
Correct.
and insert in the time and attendance system.
Correct.
Correct, okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. That motion carries. We're gonna vote.
Now, the other comment on this particular paragraph is it says each employee. However, at this point in time, we don't require salaried employees to do any kind of hour keeping.
Mhm.
So, thoughts on that?
I've worked for lots of companies that had salaried employees and they always had to make a reckoning of their time. Every single one. So that you knew, say, the chief is on salary, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Say for some reason the chief was to leave or we had needed an interim chief for a period of time. We find out that the chief is working 50+ hours, 55 hours. You can tell this guy up front that you're looking at. This is a salary position, but it's 55+ hours. Or whatever it is. But there has to be some accountability and there has to be some way to track from person to person, the flow of that position. What the number of hours required are.
Yeah, and I'd have to go back and look, 'cause I don't think that we stipulated when we hired the salaried individuals that there was a certain number of hours they had to complete.
Right,
Because we've got, I know the chief is here abnormal hours.
They're here way longer
Rick is
than
here,
me.
Rick, you could
right.
put a bed back there for Rick.
No, but she's not
That's
saying to
not what I'm
record those
saying about.
hours in order to make sure they're working a certain number. It's to
Mhm.
record those hours so that we can tell the next guy we're hiring, yeah, paying you 90 grand because you're working for a
X
full-time
amount.
job, but you're actually working 80 hours a week.
Yeah.
It's more so that we can see that is what she's trying to explain, not to hold him accountable to a certain
Right.
number of hours, but to be able to track how much we're using and abusing our salary.
would-
I mean, using our salary.
Well, we don't
if
wanna
the job
be-
requires more than a normal duties.
Oh,
hours and-
absolutely.
But I wouldn't require them to be punching a clock in and out, especially if they're coming in on weekends or coming at 2 o'clock in the morning, doing whatever. I'd say you gotta kind of give them the leeway in those positions. I would say even the regular patrolman could get caught up in a crime or an arrest where they're here, longer than they're
15 hours.
supposed to be. Now those guys who gotta pay.
Are those
They're
salary?
paid.
Those are
No,
hourly.
those
They're
are not.
hourly.
Now, those guys, you got those guys who are signing their time card.
Right.
Their time sheet or they're clocking in, but are just the salaried individuals, I don't think we should be having them punching the clock.
I do.
I think we
still
give
do.
them the leeway to do their job and perform.
Well, I mean, this has nothing to do with them doing their job. It's just for us as a city to track and say, we're overusing these people. We need to get them help. Or we're hiring someone to replace them. We need to make sure he understands what he's stepping into.
Correct.
Just to see what they're working, not so much to track them and hold them accountable to a specified number of hours.
Correct.
I don't.
I've been salaried for the last 10 years and I haven't punched the time clock. Now, if I don't do my job, you can damn sure
People
bet
notice.
that I'm gonna get kicked out of the
Yeah.
out of the team, right? So my opinion is that we don't need to, but that's just my opinion.
I mean, I see CJ's point. It makes sense to have that accountability.
Especially since it's a budgeted item and we're responsible to the cities, the citizens for the budget.
80,000 is 80,000, whether they punch hours or not.
Yeah, I don't.
But as written,
So-
this policy requires them to do it, is what I'm
Right,
saying.
right.
So So this says they have to. Was the point I was trying to make.
Well, I would put their hourly, each hourly employee. And not include salary individuals.
Just put each hourly.
You're gonna be the deciding vote on that
Uh,
one, because I disagree.
Well, okay, I will move that we, input, on section 4, then this is chapter 7,
Yeah, 7H.
7H,
4.
number 4, to add after each hourly. That's the motion.
Mhm. Do I have a second? All right, we do not have a second on that motion. So that motion will ultimately fail. So then I guess we will leave it as is.
We can revisit when we have
Yeah,
more of
because
the
it's,
council members when we bring this
Yeah.
back after I make all these edits.
yeah,
I will do a clean copy with only these edits in it. Yeah,
do we want to set a time limit for the time that we're gonna be here today to account for the fact that you need to leave and we would no longer have a quorum?
we better be, I have to leave at 9:30. So,
Can we set it till 8:45?
well, are there any other issues with section 7?
Corrections, pay deductions. Continued employment. Sections, that seems pretty normal.
All right, nothing heard. So moving on to section 8, the first question is on 8B. The question is, does the mayor really handle payroll, PTO, etc.? Or is it the activity of the city secretary, clerk, department head, etc.? Who actually approves PTO? Is it everybody goes to the city administrator for that?
No, the department heads approve their direct reports, PTO. And then I approve, or the administrator approves for city secretary, court clerk. Court clerk and the chief of police.
Okay, the city administrator is responsible for the administration, implementation, and maintenance of the employee leave policy.
I think that's. Well,
That sounds accurate. The city
Yeah.
administrator should be responsible for it.
yeah. 'Cause it
The
won't-
administrator of the employee leave policy shall. I don't know why we have that last sentence in here. So being responsible for the maintenance of the employee leave policy is different from the implementation.
Mhm. So the maintenance, so that's what I'm in charge of, right? And so I make sure that if anybody gets an updated.
When you say you, do you mean you mayor or you city administrator?
Administrator,
Okay.
Yeah.
You wear two hats. Okay,
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so responsible for
the maintenance.
the
for sure.
maintenance, but the administration and implementation?
I think it's also, right, the administrator is not responsible for the approval of PTO, but the policy, yes. And then the administration of, because he or she is ultimately responsible for ADP. And then that would make them responsible for the administration of the PTO policy.
So you're saying the city administrator is responsible for the administration, implementation, and maintenance, but not responsible for the approval?
Correct.
Is there a separate section on approval? There isn't a separate section.
I don't think
Approval. So do we want to specify that, or is that kind of implied that your boss approves your PTO?
It's certainly implied, but I wouldn't mind having it in there. I think that's a great idea. Because it was before, well. trying to think how it was done before we had ADP as a digital service. It was basically a paper request, and then I think it flowed into Catherine. And then she would get with Mickey. I don't know. I wasn't involved, but once I saw it was all papers, that's when I told him we need to go through ADP.
Ah, here we go. It says to take PTO, so the fourth paragraph of section D, so it's the one at the very bottom of this page, it states to take PTO, at least 2 days of notice must be given to the supervisor and policy administrator unless the PTO is used for legitimate unexpected illnesses or emergencies. So that says the supervisor.
Okay.
Is that sufficient?
Mhm.
Okay. So you are the one that are actually doing all that stuff as the city administrator. Okay,
Accruals, can we talk about accruals?
so there's a,
There's another,
that- so I had a question on this, which is related to accrual. So if you look at D, the second paragraph, it says prorated PTO hours defined below, but they're not defined below.
yeah,
So we have a set table that just says, this is how much you're getting. You give people a lot of time off.
we do. We do. The council voted on it.
So, and, and I know we've gone back and forth on this where like they used to at one point earn so much each month or each pay period, and now we just automatically give them at January 1st of the new year
Right.
what they have for the year. No issues with that from the older people.
It was voted on previously that.
I know, but
that
we
was-
can vote.
No, I know, I'm just letting,
Congressman does their.
it's still,
I mean, there
David
is
wasn't
a-
here in that time, neither was CJ.
Yeah,
I'm just-
there is a catch on there, should they, you give them this leave and they use it and then they decide they're gonna quit or whatever, well, they're gonna owe the city some money, and if we ever
Correct.
have any pay, well, I'm just gonna take it out of that pay that we owe them. so.
Right. But we gotta
It's-
figure out this prorated business too, because there's a reference in the second paragraph to prorated. If we're gonna take the money back because they haven't worked for the whole year, but took the whole year's worth of leave, how do we calculate the prorated?
Based on their hourly rate of pay.
So,
If they.
no, but if they work for, are we just gonna assume the 3 weeks is X number of hours divided by 52 weeks in the year and they have to work? So just basic prorated calculations, and we don't need to include that in here.
Yeah, we don't need to include. it.
Okay, just the fact that it's prorated is good enough.
Mhm.
Okay. And then you had another question about accrual?
Yeah, I mean, we don't accrue hours, right? So it's 120 hours, right? If you've been here 4 years, you get that January 1. And if you use it early on because you're sick or whatever,
So you're saying in the second paragraph, we should, paragraph D, we should change the word accruals.
right? It's
To
pro-
say leave is
it's-
based upon paid hours.
No, I'm saying leave is based upon what you've already earned previously, right? In a sense of every year,
It's based on tenure.
yeah. So
not based
zero, I think it's 0 to 5 years, 120 hours. 5 to
It's
6 to
something
7.
in here
Yeah,
somewhere.
it's-
Right, but if we just said leave is based upon paid hours of up to 2080 hours per year, 40 hours per week, excluding overtime, an employee working fewer than 40 hours per week, but at least 20 hours per week will earn prorated. So we give our part-time employees leave too?
No,
So do we want to delete that second paragraph?
Yep.
Do we want to delete the second sentence in that paragraph or the entire paragraph?
entire paragraph. can be-
PTO may be used under circumstances in which short or long-term disability leave or working compensation leave are taken. Do we need to keep that last sentence?
No,
No. So we want to delete the second paragraph in, what is that, 8D?
Mhm.
AD.
So move to delete the second paragraph in section 8D.
So
Okay, got a motion by our Mayor Pro Tem and a second by Alderwoman CJ to delete the paragraph. Delete the second paragraph in section 8D. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Right,
All those opposed? All right.
All right, and we're good with the earned PTO, 0 to 5, 6 to 10, greater than 10, 3, 4, 5 weeks. respectively.
I think our people work hard.
Then our next question, a comment is on paragraph 8G. This is a comment from the city attorney. Currently, there are no eligible employees of the city as this only applies to employers with more than 50 employees. But the city may offer this leave anyways. If this leave will not be offered, change this sentence to say, are we going to offer this leave?
I think so. I think it's the right
Do
move.
we have issues with offering this? It's a Family Medical Leave Act. We don't have to offer it, but we can,
We
is
just
what the
protect
city
it, yeah.
attorney is saying. Because she's recommending we change it if we do not intend to offer it.
Until we don't offer it. If you tell me you're gonna be off for 2 weeks, we can terminate, right? That's essentially what it's saying. And you have
You're
no
going-
more PTO,
You're gonna non-pay status.
but I have the right then to go and replace you.
Right. So she's just recommending we change the last sentence if we don't want to offer it. But if we're gonna offer it, then it's fine as written.
I think we should offer it. That's my opinion.
I know that. I'm asking the other older people.
I'm letting them know my opinion.
I'd say keep it. What do you think?
I mean, they have to have worked at least 1,250 hours during the last 12
That
months
work.
Right.
in order to be able, so it's not like we hire them and a month later, they're taking the time off.
Right.
So this is an employee that's given us time.
Yep.
And that's why I would agree it makes sense.
Okay, is there a motion?
So, no, there's no need to make a motion if we're going to
I'll leave
offer
it.
it.
Okay, leave it.
Okay.
Because if we're gonna change it, if we're not gonna offer it, then the attorney was recommending we change the sentence because we weren't offering this service or this leave. And then in section G, still the same section, the last paragraph. Asking for this for the employees is valid, but why are we asking for second and third medical opinions for family members? Are we really
Right.
gonna pay for it?
Yeah,
Right.
I agree. I would have never asked for a second opinion from the last person that we've had to deal with, or if it was their spouse. Like, if you're willing to say something that rough about your family member, then maybe you need the time off. That's my take.
So,
That's my opinion. I agree with the mayor. For an employee, I could understand it in certain situations, but for a family member,
Yeah.
that's pushing it,
this is specifically referring to family members, so
right?
that would mean deleting this last sentence. I move to delete the last sentence of section 8G.
I second.
I have a motion by our Mayor Pro Tem and a second by Alderwoman CJ to delete the last sentence in section 8G. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, all right.
The next one, oh, there's a government code that's still in blue, which means the city attorney didn't verify that one. I sent her everything in blue that she needed to verify the codes. All right, so next comment is on our holiday schedule. There's a couple issues with that. The email that you sent out to the city employees telling them what the holidays are for this year did not include December 26th.
Okay.
So why do we give them the day after Christmas off? We give them starting at noon the day before.
Mhm.
So just so you know, whatever we decide here, you need to fix it if we decide that's going to stay a holiday. So that's one question. Do we want to keep the day after Christmas? The mayor has already told them that they don't have the day after Christmas. The email he sent had Christmas Eve starting at noon and then Christmas Day. But then there are other comment in here. I also removed the current schedule for the current year because we don't want to constantly change this. The city administrator should just email it out. sometime in December. But then a comment that there are only 11 federal holidays. The city currently offers 14 holidays. Add that to the 3 weeks vacation time after a year. That is 5 weeks of PTO per employee. Typically, an employer does not provide many paid days, holidays, vacation, sick leave, or PTO unless the employee has been with the company for over 10 years. Why are we giving Good Friday as a holiday? That is solely a religious holiday, and if folks want it off, they should use their PTO. Columbus Day, the second Monday in October, is a federal holiday, and it's not on our list. So just keeping that in mind, how many days, we're already very liberal with our leave policy, starting at 3 weeks, so they get 15 days automatically. Now we're giving them 11 more. So thoughts on our current holiday schedule?
I think it's too many,
Yeah, it's a bunch.
way too much.
So we can't make the changes for this year except for the Christmas day, day after Christmas, because the email the mayor sent out didn't have that on there. So we're good if we want to remove December 26th.
Move to remove December 26th
Not a
from
good
the
idea.
holiday schedule.
I don't think that's,
So
if that was a mistake on my part, that's a mistake on my part, but you're expecting to come back December 26th and be productive
I expect them to come back the day after Thanksgiving. I did when I was working.
Yeah,
in the military,
Yeah.
in the military.
And
So when you
today-
say, when you say lots of businesses,
But
what
even,
business do you work for?
but even as a government civilian, I have to
Exactly.
take leave or be at work on
Sure,
Friday
you
after
take off.
Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So, and they have 3 weeks of PTO
I don't agree.
as soon as they're
I
hired.
don't-
So which days do we think? So Good Friday, day after Thanksgiving, day after Christmas?
We can,
Good Fridays,
we
Good
can
President's
address
Day.
this, like, but for this year, I said the motion was to remove December 26th.
I'll second that.
so it's in section J.
Yes.
So the motion is by, let's see here. Alderman Tremblay and a second by Mayor Pro Tem to remove December 26th as a holiday from our holiday schedule. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I-
All those opposed? That motion carries. And I will say, if we didn't want to make a decision on health benefits without asking the employees, why would we make a decision on their holidays without asking employees?
Oh, no, that's a.
No,
That's
no,
fine.
it's not, it's not. This
They don't-
directly affects the
So-
But
employees.
it doesn't.
It directly
They don't
affects
have a
employees.
day as to what days off they have.
The day, yeah, holidays are something different.
Now,
Now, Alderman Tremblay, so previous version of this specified that a particular holiday was began or ended on a specific year. So we can remove them in this policy and say effective December 31st, 2025. Remove it as of that,
Well,
so we don't have to bring it back and address this
right,
later.
then we can go ahead and address the rest of the schedule if where it won't be effective until next calendar year. Are there any others who want to discuss?
Well, I agree with the day after Thanksgiving, they have PTO they can use if they want that day off.
I'm never in corporate, in government, I never got President's Day, Good Friday, Juneteenth.
Juneteenth is a relatively recent
I
holiday.
know it is. Labor Day, Veterans Day, I never got those off. I don't understand that many.
I mean, schools aren't even
Holidays.
closed on Veterans Day. I would agree with Good Friday and the day after Thanksgiving. Cause they're not even federal holidays.
So that would take it down to 11. Correct?
again, have you consulted with the employees to
don't
ask them
think we
which
need-
days do you?
I don't think. we
Y'all
need
didn't
to.
want to make a
I
decision
don't
last
think-
week.
I
Y'all didn't want to make a decision last week.
That's,
Well, that's
does
fine.
not believe that we need to get the.
But you didn't want to make a
They said
decision
that's
last
the
week
difference.
because you
Their-
wanted to consult with the employees.
their
What's the
health-
difference now?
their health policy, their health premiums, yes, they're paying.
This is
for
their
them.
time
This-
off.
they're getting paid, they're getting their vacation, they're getting more holidays than the federal workers get. I mean, normally we should follow whatever the federal holidays are. That's what we should be following. But
These guys work-
like Good Friday, I don't believe Good Friday should be a holiday, nor do I believe the day after Thanksgiving should be.
Any of the other days that, Alderwoman Walker mentioned that you think we should remove?
No, just the two that I
All
mentioned.
right, I move to remove Good Friday and the day after Thanksgiving, effective January 1st, 2026.
I second that motion.
And day after Thanksgiving.
Yes.
All right, the motion is to remove Good Friday and the day after Thanksgiving, effective January 1st, 2026. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? I will say I'm opposed.
Okay, so. There were no questions within section 9, health and safety policy. Were there any comments or concerns with that one? It is a short one-page section. Okay, then if you move on to 10, you'll see that a large portion of 10 came from the health and safety section. I don't know. I thought that it fit better under workers' compensation policy because it replied, so that's starting in section C. And at the very top of page 32 is our first question, which is in 10, it's section 10, Charlie, but it's at the top of the second page. Charlie is a long section. It says there's no explanation of how an employee accrues PTO based on the number of hours worked. We award PTO for the year in January and base it on the number of years of service to the city. So it states that an employee receiving workers' compensation payments do not accrue PTO and is not entitled to receive holiday pay. So how does PTO and workers' comp work together then? Because they're not accruing it.
Is that more of a legal matter than something we would
The attorney had no comments on this.
really?
So, I mean, do we,
Again, we don't accrue PTO, right?
I know,
It's
but-
front-loaded.
I know, but we can prorate it.
So if they're on workers' comp, we're gonna take away their PTO.
Right, you don't leave while you're on workman's
Or do
comp,
we just-
workers' comp.
Do what?
Say that to me.
You don't accrue PTO while you're on workman's comp.
So how are we going?
Right, so in order to stop them from accruing PTO, since they get it automatically at the beginning of the week, do we say their PTO balance will be deducted?
No, I mean, they've already earned it,
Prorate.
so if they're going on
Right.
workers' comp, let's say they go on workman's comp in April. And they're out for 2 months. They
Yeah.
come back and
You're gonna take away X amount of days that would have been earned in
0.6.
2 months, yeah.
you've already given it to them.
Right.
So I mean, you
Okay.
can't, you don't take or give anything, they're on workman's comp, you're not even charging them PTO anymore because they're on workers' comp.
Mhm.
So it's not even, shouldn't even be a discussion. When they
What if
come
they
back
do
to,
workers' comp in June and then are out on workers' comp for the next 5 months and then come back and want to take the rest of the year PTO because they've got that much PTO saved up?
then then we need to address it. But I would think if you go on, I'm thinking, okay, you go on workman's comp, you may, I don't know, you won't be out. I guess I'm looking at it would be as if it would be short term rather than long term. If it's long term, then we need to come up with some kind of policy. I don't know. But do you penalize someone for going on workers' comp? You gotta look at it that way too.
Yeah.
They're going on workers' comp because
But it's legal.
one,
to
they
say
got
you
hurt
don't
on the job.
accrue.
Not because they got hurt while they're at home, they had a slip and fall at home, they got injured on the job in order
Right.
for them to get on workers' comp. So what should we do for them? I mean, we have to look at it as being sympathetic as well.
Absolutely. I'm just concerned about the employee that in that situation
No.
out for 6 months and then comes back and spends most of the rest of their time back on PTO. So do we not make it a blanket and just say if your workers, if you're out on workers' comp for more than 6 months, your PTO will be evaluated? Or do we just ignore it and not worry about it and just take this sentence out? We just need to do something about this sentence. This sentence will not work. An employee receiving workers' compensation payment does not accrue PTO and is not entitled to receive holiday pay.
I think the attorney should have addressed that. You should have given the attorney a situation like that and maybe had her give us some input.
I will,
Because we don't want to set ourselves up for
absolutely.
Right.
a legal battle.
So, but you're saying we shouldn't really worry about it. And we can just,
Let's get some direction from the attorney on a situation such as that.
can we address it at the last minute? Or do we need to have something in the policy? Is basically what I need to ask the attorney.
I think we need to have something in the policy, because if you have everybody sign it, we're bound by it. If we're having them sign it, it's informal contract on our end as a city. So we can't ask them to sign this as an agreement, and then a situation like you're mentioning happens, and then what is the city going to do? What is our actions? We don't want to, like I say, we don't want to set ourselves up for a lawsuit.
Yeah, we're not worried about for someone that's out for 2 months, even 3 months, probably not. But
Right.
once they reach
Long
that
term.
quarter year, well, 3 months is a quarter year. Once they reach a certain point, we need to start considering it, and I'll ask the attorney how we can legally do that. Okay, I'll have that conversation with the attorney and bring it back when I bring back the updated. See. All right, there were no other questions to discuss within this section. Were there any comments, concerns with the edits that were made? And with the way that that section works now, because a lot of this was under the safety sections, health and safety, and applied to workers' comp. There was both sections covered workers' comp, and I consolidated it into one, so we only had one section for workers' comp.
Do you feel you have everything you need to assist an individual filing a workers' comp claim, or did I miss anything?
Okay. Section 11B is where the first question is, do we want the the supervisor to be the one to authorize this? So it says only employees are allowed at work sites and in a city-owned vehicle, or as authorized by the employee's supervisor. I don't even understand what that means.
Yeah. Personal use of city vehicles, equipment may make an employee subject to disciplinary. Only employees are allowed at work sites and in city-owned vehicles or as authorized. So that's
So that's saying an employee supervisor can authorize the employee to have someone in
right, to pick up their.
a non-employee.
Pick up
in
their
the-
wife.
Or take a contractor to a work site, take somebody who's maybe gonna submit a bid to the city.
Oh, I can see that,
Yeah,
yeah.
because I mean,
But,
I've picked up Jess, right, or
Right, but as far as carrying family members in vehicles, city-owned vehicles,
Okay, so,
The question
it's, or doesn't make sense. It makes more sense to be unless authorized by the employee. Should it be the employee supervisor or city administrator? So. I would move then to strike or as. We're talking section 11B, third paragraph. Strike or as and insert unless. And then strike employee supervisor and insert city administrator.
with the exception of the police department.
Is there any, we have, how are the city's insurance policies stated in regard to that?
I would
Are
think
we
it-
only gonna say only city
City
employees
employees, I
will be
would
driving the
bet that.
vehicle?
I would bet that's what it says. I haven't seen the policy.
yeah, I haven't.
But I would bet that's, that is the city employees are covered.
Does our insurance policy cover other individuals in the vehicle?
I have not read it. I know Priscilla usually puts them in there, so I have not read it.
It's just a general liability card.
And then personal insurance policies do name driver exclusions.
Yeah,
So I would think that our TML policy,
so we couldn't take a
Specific.
contractor to the work site or something like that.
No, let me see.
probably could not.
So, and then in terms of the police department, I think we add a sentence at the end that just says the chief of police can approve.
Or they should just be exempt because they're picking
Or
up prisoners, so they shouldn't have,
Yeah.
they shouldn't need approval. I mean,
They
it's,
should be
it's,
exempt.
it's their.
Can't be putting in prisoners in the back seat.
Hey, chief, I got this drunk driver. Can I put him in the car? Can I arrest him?
They're a city employee, sure.
It's Tremblay. Can you just drop him off at the house?
So city police vehicles are exempt from this restriction. Well, let's address this first.
This is just a what to do in an accident card. It doesn't tell me. There's one more section I wanted to look at. Liability.
I mean, on a regular policy, it's
I mean,
passenger is covered as long as the named driver is driving.
right. I would think it'd just be the individual driving, but
Covered automobile means an automobile with a design capacity of 8 passengers. But this coverage is only applicable to passengers in covered automobiles. Eligible person means any person who sustains bodily injury while occupying a covered automobile with the reasonable belief that such person is entitled to do so. Persons in the custody of the members arising out of the members' law enforcement activities are not eligible persons. So based off of that, it sort of sounds like even if we took the contractor with us, they would be covered, right? So they can be in there. There's not an issue. It's obviously we don't let them drive, but I don't see a problem with liability wise if they've been authorized to be in there. Well, now where they got that authorization from, that's another story.
But does
But-
our piece need to state vehicles will only be driven by city employees?
Yeah, that's what that's
Mm,
what I need to go back to.
We'll address that in a minute, but
Yeah, no.
how about the motion I made to make those 2 edits to that one sentence?
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to so I have strike or as insert unless, and then you said strike something else.
Employees, supervisor,
Strike. Supervisor, and
and
insert.
insert city administrator.
Okay, so the motion by Mayor Pro Tem, do I have a second?
I'll second.
And a second by Alderwoman CJ is to strike in section 11B, third paragraph, strike or as and insert unless, and then strike employee supervisor and insert city administrator. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? All right, motion carries.
And then also I move to insert at the end of that paragraph, police vehicles are exempt from this restriction.
second that.
So- All right, so a motion by Mayor Pro Tem and a second by Alderman Tremblay to insert at the end of 11B paragraph 3. Insert police vehicles are exempt. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed. All right.
Now, before we move into the conversation that only city employees can drive it, I would point to the comment, it's the second comment in that big blue box. City council members who are not employees may occasionally need to be on work sites are in the city vehicle. For example, you said I could use it when I went to the training in December.
Mhm.
Certainly the mayor, who is not a city employee, has access to a city vehicle. How does this apply in these cases? And then there's a comment about the city's insurance policy, which we've already addressed it. So, and then to extend further, the whole of section 11 could also apply to other city representatives such as council members regarding phones, equipment, et cetera. This is specifically for city employees. So there needs to be another document for non-employees. So just keeping in mind that the city administrator may authorize someone that's not a city employee, such as the city administrator, the mayor, the city council, to use the vehicles. So how do we address that, or we just leave it at the fact that city administrator, and when he authorizes the employee to take somebody, you specifically say, you will drive that vehicle?
Mhm.
Or do we want to add something in here?
I mean, I don't see that I would need to use a city vehicle, but
But I could tell you, you
but-
can, right,
but-
if you had to go somewhere.
so you could just put something in there that elected officials are authorized use of city
Only
owned
with the city
vehicles.
administrator's permission.
Yeah.
Right, elected officials with the administrators. Authorization may use city vehicles to conduct city business.
So, well, we're not, this policy doesn't apply to us, but I'm
That's
just,
correct.
but we're gonna put in here that only employees, that was the comment. We need to put in there that only the employees would be the drivers of the vehicle. So, that was my concern when making that statement. Employees or those authorized by the city administrator can drive the vehicles. I think that's kind of implied with the comment that anyone in the vehicle that's not an employee better be approved by the city administrator. I don't know that we need to call that out specifically, but open to opinions.
I mean, the second paragraph said all city equipment, vehicles, it's kind of included in there.
Yeah.
I think we require all the employees to have a valid driver's license.
Yeah.
It should be understood that
There's
they're
also
going to
the,
use vehicles.
the very last sentence also states the city may at times rent or loan equipment for city projects, and training will be completed prior to use. So again, the question just, do we need to specifically call out the fact that only employees will drive the vehicle, given the fact that someone that's not an employee can't even be in the vehicle without the city administrator's permission? Or is that just kind of,
I think we should call it out. I think we should call it out because I don't want to be put in the situation where it's not in our policy that I gave you authorization, that I can give you authorization to take a vehicle. Can give you authorization to take a tractor, but you can take a vehicle.
Right.
And yeah, and I think it needs to be written, right? It can't be,
Only city employees are authorized to drive city-owned vehicles or operate rather than drive. Only city employees are authorized to operate city-owned vehicles.
unless approved by the administrator. Because again, it goes back to if you needed to take one to go to a training.
I'm exempt from this
Oh,
whole
that's true.
policy.
Yeah. I see what-
would that best fit as the second sentence in this paragraph before we talk about only employees are allowed at work site? And just add that sentence that we just stated.
Wherever you like it, put it wherever you like it, don't matter to me.
Was that a motion?
Yes, it was. Move to insert. Under
B,
section 11, B,
which paragraph?
B. Paragraph 1, 2, 3, 3,
Mm,
only
Insert only.
city, insert. Only city employees are authorized to operate city-owned vehicles.
One second.
All right, so I have a motion by Alderman Tremblay and a second by Mayor Pro Tem to insert only city employees are authorized to operate city-owned equipment, vehicles, excuse me, city-owned vehicles. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, that motion carries.
Okay, there were no other questions within section 11. There are also no comments on section 12.
So for loss or, let's look at F.
In 11 or 12?
I think it's 11. Let's see, let me just jump back. Yeah, it's still 11.
11F, liability for loss of or damage to city property or issued equipment.
Yeah, for loss, well, hold on, let me just read it one more time before you move along. For loss, damage, value, and excess. Payment will be determined by the city administrator. City administrator has the discretion to elect to recoup. Okay, and then for less, okay, I see repayment will be determined by the department head. Do we want to keep it as a department head? Because then I feel like it's getting swept under the rug. Or do we want to reword that to section F1B to be city administrator?
I think it should be the city administrator.
So then we don't need to delineate and just state for loss or damage for loss or damage.
Yeah.
Repayment will be determined by the city administrator. The city administrator has a discretion to elect to recoup less than the full amount of damages or loss. So we wouldn't need paragraph B at all. Is
Right.
that what we're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, so then, I move to strike paragraph 11FB, or 11F1B. And to make 11F1A just part of 11F1. And remove valued in excess of $500.
I second.
Let me see. So I have a motion by the Mayor Pro Tem and a second by Alderwoman CJ to strike 11F1B and make 11F1A part of 11F1 and in 11F1A to remove valued in excess of $500. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right.
Any other concerns within? Well, we're gonna have to address,
The appeal.
to the appeal.
So then we should just remove from, I don't know, I haven't read it yet,
So-
but
So I think A can be deleted completely. And the appeal process just comes the last two sentences of 2B. The employee may appeal within 10 days of receipt of the city administrator's decision to the city council. The city council's decision is final, non-appealable, and non-agreeable. Is that a sufficient appeal process?
no. I mean, I want to give them a shot, right? So. With this amendment.
Do we let them appeal to the city administrator? I disagree, and then it comes to the city council?
Yeah, I think so. I think they do, I think they appeal to the city administrator and then if the administrator doesn't agree that they should have, well, however you say it, then it should come to the council.
What do the other older people think?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they should have the opportunity to appeal it. with the city administrator and then have it come to council if they still disagree.
That was me.
Okay,
Y'all could make a motion to
I
authorize,
don't even know. how to
authorize
put it.
Monica to adjust it to,
oh, yeah, I'm more than happy to figure it out and bring it back.
yeah.
Do you guys want me to just adjust this so that it says that?
Is that your motion?
We have to make that a motion.
Alderman, yeah.
I move that we allow
Mayor Pro Tem.
Mayor Pro Tem make the adjustment to F or 11F 2
Two, yeah.
and return it to council for approval.
Eleven. Two. Or do I have a second?
Second.
And a second by Alderman Tremblay to authorize our Mayor Pro Tem to adjust 11F2 and to return it to council for review. All those in favor say aye.
I,
All those opposed. I'd like to make a 5-minute recess if somebody would like to agree with me.
I move to have a reset.
There you go. Let's have
5
a
minutes?
5 minutes. It is now 8:32. Okay, time is now 8:38. We are back in session.
Was there any other portion of section 11 that we needed to discuss? I would
No.
point to G3,
Okay, city vehicles.
specifically. It says no vehicle shall be used from transportation. It says, to and from work. It says unless specifically authorized in writing by the city administrator. However, for our investigator, that was authorized by the city council.
You know,
Should we change that to state the city council has to approve that, or are we gonna leave it as a city administrator?
We can leave it, it's done. No, I mean,
For going forward.
But going forward, do we wanna keep it where, do we want that to come to the council? Because again, we're assuming the liability, we made the decision to add the extra roadside assistance, those kind of things.
I think it's still, I think it's a decision that an administrator can make, but I think they do have to consult with council, right? It's not something that,
But
They-
leaving it as city administrator, that would allow you to
Sure.
just say, hey, my car won't start, can I take this car home
Yeah.
tonight and come back tomorrow?
Yeah.
Some kind of thing. But if we change it to council, then every little thing would have to come to council.
yeah, so
Assuming
should,
the city administrator would be bringing it to the council for approval if it's a long-term,
yeah,
repeated like the lieutenant.
yeah,
Thoughts, alderpersons?
maybe something like longer than 3 days. It needs to come to
Well, I just-
council,
Think we let the city administrator be smart enough on that.
you know.
How much, because you have to authorize it in writing, how much liability are you willing to
What do
take?
you think, David?
yeah,
Because it has to be in like,
it probably should be annotated and approved by council. That way we do go forward and get the extended maybe roadside or whatever if we need to do that. So council should be involved in somehow in that authorization.
even for just like a 1-day thing.
One day thing, I mean, the administrator can make those decisions, but if it's a continual
Longer
Okay.
than,
policy,
can we say longer than a specified time?
well,
We could add repeated transportation to and from work. Or recurring or regular transportation.
right, because I mean, just because somebody's car's in the shop, I don't want them to think, they like can come to the administrator and say, hey, I need to use a vehicle, my car's going in the shop, can I use a pickup for a few days? Get back and
Yeah.
forth? No, I mean, we should be doing that.
Right.
Emergency situation, yeah, but, let's just, no, let's leave it, use of city vehicles, outside the sentences, policy applies to vehicles assigned to employees, yes, scroll for me, please.
Unless specifically authorized in writing by the city administrator.
Unless specifically authorized in writing by
You
the
can
city
change that
council.
so that it doesn't do one page at a time and that it does continuous scrolling.
I would see, remove city administrator and insert council.
So why are you paying him $100,000? Is a general argument, you know what I mean?
So, and does the council have to authorize it in writing?
Yes. It would be, like I'm saying, if it's, then if we've got vehicles sitting at someone's home and it gets burglarized, wouldn't it be nice if the council is aware that that vehicle is?
Right, but so how are we gonna do it in writing? Is this gonna be a resolution? Is it gonna be, how do we authorize that?
Council approval. Basically, council approval, it'll be in the minutes that it was approved.
Right, but you're saying in writing, so we need to write something else specifically.
Like just an email.
So you're good, I mean, we just do, who would send an email from the city council?
Or we can authorize the city administrator, we can authorize the mayor pro tem.
Okay. Just so we're thinking
But
it
there should be
through,
some
because it says
authorization.
in writing what we're
In
thinking
writing,
of when
some
we say it, right?
authorization.
So you're authorizing the administrator to send an email, but you don't authorize him or her to make
No.
a reasonable.
Because the meeting
Right.
minutes will be posted, but not for another 2 weeks or more.
Right.
Yeah.
So the meeting minutes aren't in writing, and the city administrator can send an email saying, at this meeting, we discussed it. It's approved, effective this date. But then the meeting minutes will follow for the official record of it being approved. That's my concern, is that 2-week gap.
Right, so the council would authorize the use of the vehicle and direct the mayor, city administrator to
Okay, so you have a motion to strike
administrator.
city administrator and
Insert
insert city council.
council.
And that is in 11G.
Sorry, it's just like we did for Rick. I mean,
Yes,
we're covering ourselves and we're also covering him in the event that he has a flat tire, or whatever, needs roadside assistance, he has a fender bender. He gets injured.
I will second your motion to strike city administrator and insert city council into paragraph 11G3.
So I got a motion by the mayor pro tem and a second by, or did I have that wrong?
Yeah, it was.
You made the motion, okay.
Right.
Motion by Alderman Tremblay and a second by Mayor Pro Tem to strike city administrator and insert city council. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. That motion carries.
So item 6, just a question. Does the city administrator do this? Individual driving records shall be reviewed annually to comply with the city's insurance company requests.
There's no, I haven't seen a request from the insurance company.
So we only do it like if the insurance company wants to see someone's driving record. Probably only happens if they start having too many.
Yeah, they
accidents.
have tickets and accidents.
So, all
But,
right. So
but
it's not
that
something
should, but that should be the city council, because if they're authorized to do the top part, they should do the bottom part.
But it says annually, reviewed annually to comply with the city insurance company's request, but we don't have a request from the insurance company to review it annually, do we?
No,
Individuals' driving licenses are not recorded through the TML, through our insurance policy anyway, the city.
we have authorized drivers.
You have authorized drivers.
Yeah.
So you've submitted driver's license numbers.
Yeah.
So they would get the report if they have a
So do we even need this though? If they have the names and the driver's license number, do we?
TML will notify us, and the insurance will notify us, say, hey, you've got a driver who's been stopped for a
I
DUI.
understand all that. My question is, do we need
Do we
this?
need-
No, we don't need it.
I move to strike 11G6.
A second.
Oh, and here's just a format question, by the way. Notice at the end of this page, there's blank space, because I have each section, each chapter, starting on its at the top
Its
of
own.
a page. Do we want to keep it that way?
Yes.
Okay, that's just a preference thing I have, but I didn't know if you, because it would make the document shorter if we didn't do that.
And then again, it makes it easier to find things.
Yes, easier to read through that way too. Okay, so that is the end of 11 now, unless somebody wants to go back and revisit something, we can move on to 12.
Oh,
What-
I haven't finished the motion.
Oh, sorry.
So I have a motion by the mayor pro tem and a second by Alderwoman CJ to strike 11G6. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. All right. Now we can move along. I did.
I have nothing on 12. This is the electronic communication policy. Were there any issues, comments, or concerns with what it states? I don't think there were a lot of changes to it. Just formatting. Okay, at the beginning of section 13, this is our social media policy. There is a comment from the city attorney where she states, I don't know if section A and B, with the exception of the last two sentences in B, are employee policies. These look like social media policies for the city, such as Sandy Oaks Facebook page. It is in the social media policy section.
Yeah, it does. That's how it does read. So it could be extracted for the purpose of its own policy.
Except for the last two sentences,
Mm-hmm.
which states employees representing the city government via social media outlets must always conduct themselves as a representative of the city and in accordance with all city personnel policies. Employees found in violation of this policy may be subject to disciplinary action up to and including termination of employees. So the city attorney is recommending we not have A and B as part of the personnel policy because it's more of a city social media policy, except for those last two sentences that I read.
You can scroll up, please.
Mm-hmm. Scroll up or down?
Yeah.
Do we have a social media policy? Because we don't even have an official Facebook page for the city.
Not for the city. We have it for PD. And then we have a next door.
But that's not this, the city doesn't run that.
No, there are individuals who run
No.
Sandy Oaks community. And
Oh yeah, that. But
Yeah,
I'm saying
but
we
it's
have
not-
Sandy Oaks PD.
And we
That
have
is-
Sandy
The
Oaks
police
Animal
department
Control.
has.
Yeah, we have
has
animal
a
control.
Facebook page.
So they need to comply with these policies. We need to come up with a social media policy then
Mhm.
for the pages that we have.
Animal Control. has
But-
one.
So
Animal control does too.
Mm-hmm.
So the city attorney is saying these are not necessarily personnel policies, but a
Right.
social media policy. What are your thoughts?
I mean, unless the city comes up with a policy that is attached to our website, the city of Sandy Oaks webpage, unless there's a policy there, this is really doesn't pertain to employees, like you're saying. It's not. As far as Facebook and all that, they have policies that they have to follow. I mean, they could end up, chief could end up in Facebook jail. Never know.
Well, we can revisit at some point if we want a policy that includes this kind of stuff for our employees, or for our departments that run their Facebook.
I think
page.
we have if you go back, we have electronic, devices. We talk about
Right.
phones and use of computers.
Right.
That should address, using social media. But as far as having a social media policy, it should be somehow attached to City of Sandy Oaks.
Well, I think the
Webpage.
remainder of this section is relevant. Than like those two sentences I just read. And then section C goes on to talk about employee guidance for participating in social networking. Email and internet policy.
Yeah, those are applicable.
So again, just looking, so I don't think we need to do away with the entire social media policy. I think we need to do away with,
The parts for the,
as the
For the
city attorney
departments.
recommended.
Yeah.
Section A and B, except for the last two sentences of B. And make that a general provision paragraph. Well, it's already under the general provision. Is that what you're saying, Alderman Trumbull?
Yes.
Right,
So, go back to that.
Mhm.
Yeah, wireless mouse. You know, wireless mouse.
No, I forgot it.
Okay, you wanna make the motion? As you're writing it there, or?
I move to remove section 13A and all but the last two sentences of 13B.
I'll second.
I guess proper term is to strike, delete.
All right, I got a motion by the Mayor Pro Tem and Alderwoman CJ to strike 13A and 13B. However, we're leaving the remaining last two sentences. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, all right.
All right, the city attorney has a similar comment related to the third paragraph in
See,
section C. But this talks about all city sanctioned social media sites shall be approved by the city administrator before publishing. Any content to be posted on the city sanctioned social media site must meet the approval of the city administrator or his designee before being posted. Does that apply, given the fact that we do have two sites?
We don't have it.
so
It's a city sanctioned,
We
so
don't
the
have-
city is sanctioned, the police department and the animal control.
right, and I don't approve their posts,
But you
Now-
designated that,
but I've designated them to do it, so.
which is what it says,
Right.
city administrator or their designee. So I think that one actually makes sense to leave
So
it.
you're,
Yeah.
and it says that you're sanctioning.
And nobody approves mine, right, for next door.
That's not a city approved site. That's not a city sanction. The next door page is not sanctioned by the city.
The one that I run?
That would be your
Oh, you run
personal.
one?
Yeah. The mayor, the city of Sandy Oaks mayor. You don't follow my page?
Nope.
Wow,
I don't
so
know.
rude.
Is there one? really?
Yeah,
It's on your
I'm the,
profile.
I'm the one that posts everything about next door and about
It
the
should be all
trash.
the same, it just shows up on my feed with all the community center stuff.
Uh,
I'm also not on next door a lot.
yeah, it's,
So I think that one it sounds like a social media policy, but it also lets the city employees know if they're gonna be posting, they better,
yeah. Which nobody else has access to any of the pages besides the departments, right? Like, again, for my page, for the, police department and for animal control.
so
Okay.
again, the question is simply the city attorney saying it looks like a social media policy for the city, not for employees.
Well, although C says employee guidance. So,
Yeah, so that's telling the employee that if they want a city sanctioned site, they need to go to the city administrator.
exactly.
So,
So what do we have left? I mean, Public Works. Public Works won't have a, why is that a,
Yeah, I
so
mean,
do we want to keep that paragraph?
let's
or
leave
delete
it, yes, let's leave it there.
All right, next, not the next paragraph, but the paragraph after that starts all online content posted as a representative of the city. City attorney has the same comment on that where it's talking about don't use profane language.
Yep, it's all given.
So,
Sure.
but I still think it's worth keeping in here.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and then next on D, email and internet policy. Why are we? It's the third sentence. It says information that is deemed as improper material is at the city administrator's discretion. Isn't that already dictated in the paragraph above? Or do we have that in there so we can say,
Yeah,
take it out?
if they find it, right, if it gets brought up to them that there's improper material, I think then the administrator can act on it.
And it just says that the employee can't appeal if the city administrator says to remove it. Thoughts?
No, and again, this could be related to harassment, using the internet as a form of harassment, so.
So we're good leaving it in
Yeah.
the city administrator's decision
Yes.
to. Okay. All right, so that is the last item in 13. Is there any comments, questions with the changes made as a whole in section 13? All right, there are no questions or comments within section 14, conflict of interest in outside employment policy. Are there any questions or concerns? I had no questions written up on that one. Okay, moving on to section 15, alcohol and drug use policy. The first comment is in the middle of section, or the first question is in the middle of section B, where it states the phrase performing work for the city as referenced throughout these personnel policies, etc. And the question associated with that is, if it applies to all sections, shouldn't it be at the first, somewhere in the beginning? Maybe we need to also add unless otherwise specified. Because it is defined as all employees' activities occurring while in city premises, while on duty, while conducting city-related businesses or other activities off premise, while driving a city-owned vehicle or leased vehicle or while operating or using. That's a really long sentence. So it's added here because it's the drug and alcohol section, but it specifically states when used throughout the policy, or do we want to remove that caveat? Or move this definition to the beginning?
No, I mean, being that it's in the alcohol and drug policy, it belongs there. If you just want to remove the portion where it says,
As referenced,
throughout the policy, yeah, as reference, you just put as reference, and you could each actually remove, the city. Yeah, you can remove as reference throughout
these
the
personnel policies.
personal policy, yeah, you can just delete
Is
that,
that a motion?
yes.
I'll second.
15. Paragraph. Okay, so we're gonna have a motion by Alderman Tremblay and a second by Alderwoman CJ to strike as referenced through these personnel policy. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? All right.
The next question is 15K3. This is a comment from the city attorney. CDL holders that operate a commercial vehicle subject to testing under federal law. Do you want to include this as policy as well?
We have no commercial vehicles. Nobody has a CDL employed by the city.
Doesn't mean that we won't though. Because I mean, if we ever start to do some minor road repair, right, we're gonna have a bigger trailer, we're gonna have a dump truck or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't think we will.
The sentence says the city may conduct random testing on employees holding safety and security sensitive position. So a CDL is a safety sensitive position, is
Yeah.
a safety position, right?
Yep.
So I think it's it's included. And then she goes on to further say, also include what positions are considered safety and security sensitive positions. Police officers who carry firearms and those operating heavy machinery or large vehicles fall into this category. So do we want to call that out as suggested by the city attorney?
Or do we want to just say testing of all employees instead of just safety and security?
Do you do random drug testing?
Unless they get hurt?
Yeah, I mean, you can require it if you,
Yeah, but you can't just randomly drug test people unless, yeah.
if you smell alcohol in the breath, you
Yeah.
can. Okay, I've sent you down.
There was a situation where we thought about doing it and Cassandra said, no, not. Like it's a violation or something like that. Based off of the situation that we discussed with her and she's like,
So do we just delete the whole last sentence then? Because we're only gonna do it if there's an accident? So she's recommending we add a definition of what safety and security sensitive personnel are. But it sounds like we're not gonna do drug testing unless there's an accident.
Right,
So what do we wanna do?
Well, we can say the city may conduct random testing on employees.
but we can't, that's
uh,
what,
Beginning of the sentence talks about,
correct, you're right.
if there's a workplace injury or accident. And the employee could be at fault. So that's already covered in here.
right, the lesson.
She didn't say we couldn't do it though.
Yeah. And maybe it was just that situation where she
It
said.
could be just that situation. Oh no, all my life I've been subject to random drug tests. So.
I was gonna say it, the city administrators,
I'm on it now.
Do what?
They test me now. Just for medications I'm on. They have to sign a paper that I would do random drug testing.
Nice. So what do we want to do with this one? We have a recommendation from the city attorney. And then we've had discussion that we're never gonna do the random testing of any of our personnel.
or
Not even the police.
or could we
The police
do-
aren't Subject to random drug testing.
we do
Hey,
random
Tom Texas right to
testing.
you. I was waiting.
I don't know, I know the situation that we had really caught me by surprise because I know the other cities I've been at, there's been random drug tests, not just within the police department,
Right.
but like city personnel. And the situation we had, you would have thought for sure they would have just come in and tested all of us, but they didn't. And it caught me by surprise. And I don't know what, I don't know what the standard reasoning was behind it.
I was wondering if you could say, the city may conduct random testing on employees
At any given time,
based on at any given time, based on the
Reasonable doubt.
city administrator's discretion or supervisor's
Today given time is
discretion.
implied by the term random. May conduct random drug tests at the city administrator's discretion.
city may conduct random drug testing on employees, period.
Wait, do you want drug testing or drug and alcohol testing or just testing?
Drug and alcohol testing.
It just says testing. We can leave it as testing. It's in the drug and alcohol section, so it
Right.
implies drug and alcohol.
Yeah, test of employees, period. Just delete the holdings, safety and security sensitive positions.
I think there's gotta be reasonable doubt as to why we're
Right,
testing.
well, and
But the fact that it
And it
says
would be-
may leaves it open enough where, yeah, we gotta get the attorney's permission.
Yeah,
we have our police department carrying guns, we have our public works people operating heavy equipment.
but if they're not
We
showing
have
any
our-
signs,
Okay, but that's what I'm saying, but you're tested because workplace, but I read the first part.
Yeah.
Yeah, the beginning
Where-
says you're testing if there's an accident. and it
And
could be your
reasonable
fault.
suspicion exists.
no, as long as
So it
that's there.
covers it right there.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think everybody who works for the city at some capacity, is in a position where they could get hurt, either heavy equipment, weapons,
So then,
dangerous animals.
so then do y'all just define safety and security sensitive positions?
No,
No.
everybody.
No, I think he
everybody's
just made a
included.
motion to delete holding, everything from holding to the end of
We're
the
just gonna
term.
delete that portion.
I second.
Consider they're all, and they're all sensitive.
I second.
I think the only one who wouldn't be sensitive would be Delma, but she could go back there helping them with a dog and something could happen.
Yeah.
Delma, what'd you smoke this morning?
Jeez, on record, David, come on, man.
Sorry, Delma.
Okay, so I got a motion from Alderman Tremblay and a second from, Alderwoman CJ to strike safety and security positions from 15.
Holding and safety and security, but starting with the word holding.
Strike, starting with the word holding, safety and security positions on, what is it, 15-3?
15K3.
15K3. All those in favor say aye.
I
All those opposed.
only have 5 more questions in my list. We could be getting done. Okay, so that's the last I have for section 15. If there are no other questions, we can move on. Section 16 is a discipline policy in which I have no questions listed. Nothing heard. 17 is a grievance policy. No comments or questions in there. If there's no comments, then we move on to 18, which is termination policy. No changes there, not a lot of changes either. Again, city council, everyone works at the pleasure of the council and we can fire. Nobody else can. Nineteen is where we have the next questions, unless you all wanted to talk about any of the other ones. And that first question is section 19B. It says, do we want the default to be that, oh crap, my battery just died. Do we want the
Explodes.
default to be that
Can we read it?
the personnel have, our address, phone number, et cetera, are going to be provided? Or do we want the default to be that it's not? Because right now it states that it defaults to providing that information.
Everywhere I've worked, it's been the default that you do not release the information unless the person is given authorization.
You work for a city?
Not for a city, but I've worked for government, corporations, small businesses.
Not for a city. I'm just giving you my time, but seriously though, like I don't know if this is then maybe that's a question for Cassandra. Is this a law? Right? Or is this a statute or something that we have, that's why it's there to disclose it? And that's why it's there by default? Or is it at our discretion to even make that decision?
She didn't comment.
She didn't say anything on it.
I mean, do you have a lot of businesses that will send you these papers and they give you the option and you put there, do not share my information.
Yeah.
So I think if they have the power to say, okay, you know, we across the board, we're not going to share your information unless you want us to.
Oh, that's,
And why would we anyway?
well,
Unless somebody calls, say, hey, I'm trying to get a hold of so you have their number. Are you free to
And this is-
release that information?
This is in relation to like a Public Information Act request, right? I think that's what I saw.
go back to, what's the title of the section?
Under Public Information Act, it's personal. If it's in our records, then they have every right to it.
This is just in regards.
This is the personnel records policy.
So I don't know why it would have said that to begin with, and maybe something's changed since then.
I think city council changed.
I think that's a Cassandra question. If we could change it, right? I agree. I think we need to not disclose that
Right.
information because that their personal information, their address, their telephones, nobody's business. But why was it in
But
here?
but if it's in their personnel file, it's public information.
Yeah,
The only thing that's not public information is their medical record, anything we have as far as medical.
Yeah, so that's like in the elected officials, you automatically post everything. You don't even ask for permission, you just post it. And the only reason mine didn't get posted was they took the time to fill out that additional form.
mhm.
So the default is to
To
release
disclose
it.
it, yeah.
I check with Cassandra and
So the question for Cassandra is the default to,
Do not.
no, this says the default is we're going to,
Is to disclose.
They may
Is-
choose.
is there a requirement? To
At this point,
default?
the way it reads is that we don't. They may choose that we will release it.
No, it does not
No.
request you have 14 days to request confidentiality, otherwise it's released.
the default is released according to this.
Yeah.
So if we're wrong, are we breaking the law, right? Like that's why
So the question is can we change it so that
the default is to
the
not.
default is not, but then how do we request permission to release it?
It should go in their personnel file. I mean, how often's that?
No,
Yeah.
it goes in the personnel file, it's public information.
Yeah,
So you have, it would have to not be put.
well, it's a
And-
But when else would we release it?
if there was an accident or they got into a fight with a citizen. I don't know, I'm trying to think of a random situation
I
where,
mean, why would we be releasing it? It's in the personnel records. It's important for them to know their personnel records are public information.
Yeah.
And then the default is for everyone that's running for office, your information is released unless you do the form saying, don't release my information.
But if John down the street calls up and wants Delma's home address,
by this, we have to release it unless she tells us no.
see, I see that as a
Yeah,
liability,
really, that's.
major
Yeah.
liability.
Yeah. Another John.
Everybody picking on Delma.
John Doe.
Yeah, John Doe, not John C.
My address. Everybody's weed.
Oh my gosh. David, it's time for you to go.
Okay, I can talk to the city attorney and find out.
Or not release.
Why do we have this in there, and is it possible for us to adjust this? I mean, why do we even need to have this in here? We just say that your information in your personnel files are public information.
Yeah.
The fact default, which way we're gonna default, is that really relevant?
Yeah, yeah, because if it's
Yeah.
public, it doesn't matter. And it can be requested,
So everyone needs to know this.
yeah,
That they can choose to not have that information released from their personnel file.
they just gotta fill out the form.
Right. So let's leave it there and get a little more direction from the attorney.
So like the form that I filled out, does that apply to
I don't think so.
employees too? I thought that was only elected officials.
Yeah, I think
Right.
your form is for specifically elected officials.
Yeah, so how does an employee say it's in my personnel records and I want to keep it personal?
I think you could start with, I don't know if there's a form out there, but I
Yeah,
think you could
there's-
start with, just an email.
Probably a-
I check.
City of Allison put out a form, so I don't know if their default was also to release, but we were able to fill out a form saying do not release.
Yeah, well, especially, I think it
I'll
calls
check
it out
with
there
the
and the
form.
officers are not
Police
included.
officers.
But fill out the form.
All right,
So I'll have a conversation with the city attorney on that one. And unfortunately, my computer, this is my old one, so it's very slow.
mhm,
So it hasn't come back up, so you'll have to scroll to find the next
you're
comment.
fine. Certification. Employee hired to fill the position, oh, so certification policy, certification, the comment reads, certification policy should probably be following selection and hiring or included in it, as it speaks to jobs that require certification. Alternatively, keep where it's at here and have a statement regarding certification in the selection and hiring process. Selection and hiring section referring to this policy when
And
necessary.
that pretty much just deals with the police department.
Yeah. Cause, I mean, who needs to be certified?
There's some training requirements and stuff for animal control.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Still falling under the police department.
Yeah.
At this point, so. And the interview process, those questions.
Unless we hire like an electrician, right, which they're required to be certified, or an HVAC technician. Which is, they're required to be certified, so. I think.
I mean, if someone needs a certification, it's gonna be in the application, I mean, in the, job description, I would hope.
Yeah,
Okay,
So what is this recommending we do?
it says should probably be following selection and hiring or included in it. So move this to the selection and hiring section. I agree with that.
alternatively, keep where it's at and just make a statement regarding.
Well, we're gonna alphabetize this stuff, so we can't put it after the hiring policy because it comes before hiring
Yeah.
policy.
So I think we should
Sure.
move it.
Okay.
Because they need to know. They need to know if they're gonna be hired and a certification is required.
So actually make certification policy part of the hiring policy,
I agree.
Right.
even though it talks about additional certifications and,
Yeah,
Well, it's all part of hiring.
it's all part of hiring.
Yeah. Move 20, put it under hiring. Move to take, section 20 and include it in the hiring process.
for a second.
Second.
Ooh, I heard Mayor Pro Tem first. All right, so I have a motion by Alderman Tremblay and a second by our Mayor Pro Tem to take section 20 certifications policy and insert it into the selection and hiring section. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Moving on. We're in the home stretch, guys. Oops. Travel policy. Any questions on travel?
I think the
Mileage?
next question was in 22.
Yeah, lodging, use of vehicles, city vehicles will be utilized when available for ground transportation, private vehicles, okay. Air travel. Cash asset,
Ah, yeah,
all right.
what about the community center?
Mhm. You're talking about like their loterias and stuff like that?
They have cash.
Yeah,
And if you talk about petty cash,
Mhm.
section D, it specifically says where petty cash is located, the city secretary and court clerk. There is no mention of the community center being able to have a petty cash fund.
Minimum and maximum.
Right, the minimum and maximum is set in the petty cash. Item D. But it doesn't say the community center, and
Right.
again, the community center wasn't doing that probably back when this section was written. So
Yeah.
that was my, that was the purpose of that comment.
my only thought is that we haven't funded them to go buy things, like as far as how they've earned their money.
Right, but they're using, but they have a petty cash.
Right.
And they should be abiding by the petty cash rules here, which means like if it goes over 300, they better be turning it in and getting it deposited. They need to know what the rules are associated with petty cash. I'm not saying they can't have petty cash to do this.
Mhm.
I'm just saying, according to this policy, they're not included in the petty cash. If you scroll up a little bit, you can read section D.
So I will say now it kind of makes sense. Remember, we just hired somebody for that, not just, but,
I know,
so that's why it
And that's
probably
why-
never applied.
and I
So
understand that's
then-
why they're not in here. I'm just saying, should they be?
Yeah,
They probably need to have their own policy separate from the city.
yeah, I think they can follow this one because we do have an hired employee over there, right? So then she can adhere to the policy. And I think the $300 is probably fine. I don't know how much they have.
Though then they don't go over 300.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I don't think they got a ton of money, but I think they
Can
should.
you scroll up so we can actually read petty cash paragraph, please?
And that was it. Or scroll down.
There we go.
There we go.
Petty cash will be handled only by the employee given the responsibility. Employee issued petty cash will be responsible for providing receipts to the department where the petty cash is obtained. The city secretary and court clerk are designated as employees responsible for petty cash.
Can you fix that part when you get a chance? It's like spaced weird. Sorry.
Can we just say city secretary, comma, court clerk and
Community center employee.
Mhm.
community center?
Is that what she's called? What's her title? Community center director?
No, she's not a director.
Just tell her, yeah, employee.
Community center employee?
Yeah.
We only have one. We'll
Well-
never have more.
I don't think so.
All right, I move to add to the last sentence of paragraph 22D. Community center employee, comma, right before city secretary.
A second.
All right, I have a motion by our Mayor Pro Tem and a second by Alderwoman CJ to add to the last sentence of 22D, community center employee before city secretary. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, that motion carries. All right.
The next comment is related to being bonded.
So at this time, I don't think anybody's bonded. I know we researched how to get bonded and it never went forward. So I think it still needs to be done. We just need to do it.
I'm sure it costs money.
Yeah,
But this is something we still want to keep in here.
yeah, I think so. And do we want to just do cash register won't be handled by an employee to sign it? Seeing Jeremy handles money, correct? Right.
Court clerk.
Yeah, so. And then Lisa does as well?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think we should leave it in there. And then any questions on that?
So what about community center? I mean, they only handle the petty cash.
Yeah, they're not making deposit, but I'll sometimes make a deposit.
Then shouldn't you be bonded? Because you're carrying the city's money from here to the bank.
I know.
And bond, I mean, has an amount associated with it. So if you're bonded for whatever, you're bonded for $1 million, it's gonna cost this much. If you're bonded for 10,000, then it's this much. So that's how we need to look at it. We just need to figure out where to go
Right.
to get it.
Well, I don't think the community center employee needs it because
Yeah,
the city can just deal with it if we lose a little less than $300 petty cash that they deal with. But, yeah, just wanted to make sure, point out that this was in here and then do we still want to require that or do that? So
should we change it to, well, you said,
it doesn't apply to you. You're not the,
no, I know, but listen, city administrator. I'm assuming they're gonna be making deposits too.
yeah. Probably be doing it more than you when,
I'll
But-
just throw this
but-
out there and.
but it's
and-
fine
And watch
because-
the chief's eyebrows pop up, but wouldn't it be feasible to have the police department making our deposits? Has that ever been done in cities where you worked?
So, and I just didn't know if I can bring stuff up here or not, but as far as for city, no, but I do think we need an asset forfeiture account where we would be dealing with money. We would have our own petty cash to buy drugs, do undercover work, whatever the case may be out there. Then the officers would be handling cash. Then if we do see something, in the commission of felony, we would be having cash and we'd have to take that cash to a bank, would be a separate asset forfeiture account.
Okay, but you wouldn't handle the city portion.
I've never seen that.
Okay,
I mean, I
that
don't know.
was my question.
It is a concern that I have though.
But this just says any persons handling monetary funds through the registers or making deposits.
Shall be,
So that just captures everybody.
Yeah.
Must be bonded
Yeah.
with the city. So just making sure that's something we still want to do, because I know we haven't quite got to it. It's in here, want to make sure.
Yeah.
instead of must, why don't you just put will be, and then when we do it, it'll be done. But it will be, we just
Must
don't say
be the
when.
must be.
How about that?
They must be bonded. Let's leave that alone.
That was the last question I had in the system,
Didn't do your pay scale.
and we didn't do the pay scale yet, and it is 9:30. So shall we revisit the pay scale?
Actually, I think the pay scale portion needs to be with the budget. As long as the budget supports it, I don't see a problem with it, but I think it needs,
So did you look at what my budget document has?
I did.
Because I'm also saying we need to add additional categories. We have the animal control officer, we have the
No.
animal control
Yes.
deputy.
Got that in my notes.
And, but we didn't have that laid out in the schedule before, so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about adding. The city administrator wasn't on there.
Mhm.
So we can ask the mayor to provide us recommendations based on the information I provided, on what I've provided, what the budget can support, and what he would think we would do, and then send that out to us.
So we've got a couple more of these before we can have a finished product.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna make these changes, but yeah, I think we could wrap it all up in one more. It's just the pay scale. We need to make sure, because again, it's not just what we can handle now, it's what we can handle in the future, because this is, it's gonna be a range, and then we can
Sure,
grow
the
it
low
into.
range is, doesn't exceed, you know.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, but I think with the numbers that I found online, and the numbers that people are currently paid, I mean, that shouldn't be our lower end. Cause if we go out and hire another police officer, it shouldn't be the amount we're paying our least person now, it should be a range.
Mhm.
And the chief went into great details, like this kind of qualifications, it was pretty detailed on how he can do it. And that's a lot more than what we had in the other policy too. So I think with what was available online for the averages, the city administrator / mayor's recommendation on what our budget can handle based on him foreseeing the next 3 years or so, is that a suitable range for those positions? And then we can discuss that at a follow-on meeting with all of these edits.
Right. Okay.
And then if you guys are fine with it, I will go ahead and accept all the changes that I've made to this document that we just looked at. And so the track changes that I bring back next time will only be the ones we've discussed today.
The ones that we need like Cassandra to respond to and stuff like that.
Well, no, even like the ones that says move this, that way
Oh,
you can
gotcha.
see, hey, this is how I rewrote this paragraph. I did move this here.
Gotcha.
Not the rearranging of the paragraphs, because that'll look ugly in there, but when I make the edits to the contents of the paragraphs, I want you guys to see, to bring you a red line version, like the
Yeah.
city attorney did.
And yeah, whatever clarification you get from her, if you can have that.
Yeah, I'll bring that clarification and incorporate what clarification I can, or I can interpret without input from the council.
I mean, I'm anxious to put this to rest.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone else is. It's just, yeah.
I think we can wrap it up in one more much shorter meeting. So this was just the long one. I mean, it is a 62-page document. That's why I wanted to skip the pay rates and figure we can go back to that. So then, Mayor, I would ask that you take a look at that document, which of those ranges are appropriate for our budget? Because again, remember, I provided several sources.
Mhm.
And I also added some positions that weren't in the original policy that we added here. And the chief gave me his document, which I also included in here, as well as the different positions he listed from the various sites
Yeah.
that I found online. Which one, what is the range that's feasible for this town? And if you could email that, your thoughts on that to the pay table based on from a budget perspective.
Yeah, I could do that.
All right, I am still furloughed for now. So,
But
if I remain furloughed, I might have time to actually get this done next week. And then we could fit in, either do it as part of the regular council meeting next month or do a special meeting next month. So review and wrap up this last stuff. So, and then CJ, I'll send it to you to QC as a member of the committee that put this together. Once I make the edits, from this discussion.
to adjourn.
It's now 9:32. We are adjourned. Thank you all.
My only comment on that, drug testing would be,